Ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday, December 15th, 2025. Here's what's coming up on the Owen Report today. Well, it was one of those weekends where you blink. If you weren't following the news this weekend, you blink, and all of a sudden there's like 5 massive stories popping, whether it's another shooting at a college, another terrorist shooting, seems to be based off of a religious issue in a foreign country, whether it's the administration and everything they're up to. There's more war, there's less money. And everybody after this week, I think, coming to grips with what we're going to get and what we're not going to get with this Trump administration. And so we're going to get a little ahead of the curve today. And we're going to kind of do a year in review. I know it's a little early, because technically we still have a month and a week until it's the official year. But I think we kind of do a year in review early today, after we compress, or maybe before we compress, and then after we compress all of the day's news. Because when you look at the situation with the Rob Reiner family, and this is my cliche of the day, if you will, it's very apropos. Rob Reiner got the last laugh. Rob Reiner got the last laugh on Trump and on MAGA. And I'm going to explain why today. Many of you may already know, maybe you already understand where we're going, but Rob Reiner got the last laugh. And that's how far MAGA, and that's how far, quite frankly, Trump himself has just fallen off. And I think his response, his post in the aftermath of Rob Reiner's death, shows that this administration, Trump himself, the MAGA movement, they've just fallen off, folks. I don't know what it is anymore. As far as the culture is concerned, we can obviously see what the results are. We can see what the politics are, the policy are, but the culture, it ain't it. It ain't the culture that I cultivated. It ain't the culture that I'm a part of. It's not one that I want to be a part of. And Rob Reiner today gets the last laugh. He gets the last laugh on Donald Trump, and he gets the last laugh on MAGA. Now, this situation with Erica Kirk now has reached new levels. She is apparently meeting with Candace Owens right now. Now, that's what I'm told, is that they're meeting right now. This is public. It's not like it's secret. They've come out and said that we're going to have a personal meeting, and nobody's going to say anything publicly until it's concluded. So this is apparently happening right now. But as Erica Kirk finishes off her grieving tour, which I guess was more of a, I'm going to take over TPUSA and lead from the front. I guess that would be the most innocent explanation. The conspiracy theorists have their less innocent explanation, let's say. But now it's been 3 months. She's done the media tour. She's opened herself up for public scrutiny. And you can't play the grieving widow card forever when you're going on and doing media tours. And now they're calling for censorship in the name of your husband, and she's allowing this to happen. She's platforming these people, and she's turned it into, now, without any doubt, after the final hours of her media tour, into a pro-Israel session. Now, I'm going to respond to one thing she said this weekend, and I'd like to think that this is just Erica Kirk getting it wrong. Who knows how politically involved she really was. She seemed to be mostly behind the scenes and taking care of her kids. Now, all of a sudden, she's on the front lines. So maybe there's some time that she needs to kind of catch up. But no, it looks to just be a foreign operation now. And boy, oh boy, does that not give the conspiracy theorists exactly what they want? Does that not give the fuel to the fire of the conspiracy theorists out there? So we're going to reply to all of that. But beyond that, after what happened in Australia, more censorship and imprisonment if you're guilty of the crime of anti-Semitism.
This news update was brought to you by OwenSchroyer.store, the official site for Owen Report merchandise.
So you've probably seen it in the news by now, folks. Gold, silver, precious metals skyrocketing. People are wanting to get out of having cash on hand, and they're looking at precious metals. In fact, there was even a scene that went viral from the show Pawn Stars. I'm imagining it was an older scene, so imagine now an older Pawn Stars episode where a guy is trying to make a sale for a car, and he only wants to get paid in gold because he says, I don't want to sit on cash. It's going to depreciate. And he's right. He's right. So that's why my friends at Allegiance Gold want you to go to protectwithowen.com. Let me ask you something. Are you the type who waits to be rescued or the one who protects your family before the storm hits? We're already seeing the cracks. The dollar buys less every month. Banks are showing stress. In this market, it's being propped up with printed money. It's not if it breaks, it's how prepared you'll be when it does. Here's what they don't want you to know. When the system starts cracking, the insiders quietly move first. That's why central banks, major institutions, and billionaires are piling into gold right now. So that's why I've partnered with Allegiance Gold. When paper markets burn or the market falls, gold and silver don't. They're yours, not the government's, not the banks, not Wall Street's, yours. Allegiance Gold has been around for nearly a decade and is trusted by over 7,000 clients nationwide. Relationship-driven, A+ with the Better Business Bureau, 4.9-star reviews from real clients, and they focus on educating you first. That's why they want you to give them a call. 844-790-9191. That's 844-790-9191. Or go to protectwithowen.com. Like I said, they want to educate you first. And then you can find out about their $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments. That's right, $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments. But that amount, that weight is going down every day. So give them a call, 844-790-9191. Or go to protectwithowen.com. That's protectwithowen.com.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
Happy Monday, guys. How we doing? How we doing on a Monday? We're a little late getting on air today. I'm not too concerned. I am sorry for making you wait. The truth is, if you're watching today, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. The truth is, the reason why I'm late is because I'm a man. I'm a man. And for some odd reason, us men, we're not as good at putting up Christmas decorations. It's just true. It's just true. Doesn't mean we can't do it. Doesn't mean there's not jobs when it comes to Christmas decor that we aren't superior at, that we shouldn't be taking up ourselves, like getting on the roof and putting up those lights and other such things. But when it comes to decorating the studio, man, I got to tell you, you'd think putting up a couple of decorations in the studio would be light work. You'd think it, wouldn't you? But no, it caused me to be 15 minutes late today. So I blame myself because I struggled with the Christmas decorations. I even bled. There's a little cut on my hand. It looks like it's already recovered. Wow, how do you like that? I bled putting up these decorations for the show. That's my level of commitment. So anyway, I said we were going full Christmas this week. So you saw the new lobby video. We got a little Christmas decor in the studio today. So that's my excuse for the tardiness. Has nothing to do with it being a Monday or anything like that. It's just the damn Christmas decorations. You'd think, oh, a couple things of holly, no problem. A couple things of garland, no problem. It turned out to be a little bit of a problem. Okay. Well, Where to begin? I'm sitting here and I've got the news, plenty of it. There's no shortage of news. But I'm looking at the Trump administration, or specifically, I'm looking at Donald Trump and MAGA responding to Rob Reiner's death. And I'm thinking this is the state of the Trump administration. This is the state of MAGA. They've totally lost it. They're punch drunk. They're high on their own supply. They feel untouchable. They feel they can do no wrong. They feel they can do no evil. They think they're beyond any reproach here. And it's Trump's response to the Rob Reiner death that really sealed it for me. That really said, this is where the administration is at. And they seem to have lost all touch with the outside world. And perhaps you could say, well, this is the equal and opposite reaction to everything the left has done, and that's the excuse that's been given, to which I reply, I thought we were supposed to be better. Like, I thought that was the whole thing. You know, they say when they go low, we kick them. We say when they go low, we maintain the high ground. Not anymore. Now MAGA is not even interested in the high ground. They can't even see the high ground. They can't touch the high ground. They think they're on the high ground, but they're nowhere near it. And now Rob Reiner gets the last laugh. Rob Reiner gets the last laugh on Donald Trump. And Rob Reiner gets the last laugh on MAGA. It's actually poetic. Now, you can take all your issues with Rob Reiner and all your issues with the things Rob Reiner has said, and that's fine, and that's fair, and that's politics. But Rob Reiner is dead. It appears, all signs indicate, that this was a brutal murder of Rob and his wife by their son. That's the suspect currently being held on $4 million bail. So they believe they've got it. They believe it's the son, struggled with drugs and other problems. And what happened to the bleeding hearts over the drugs? What happened to the bleeding hearts of the Trump administration? What happened to the bleeding hearts of MAGA? I thought we were standing with the drug addiction, those afflicted with drug addiction. I thought we were standing with the families, fighting with those that are afflicted by drug addiction. Oh, but then as soon as it's Rob Reiner, it's screw them all. As soon as it's Rob Reiner, it's okay to dance on his grave now. Rob Reiner said despicable things. He said despicable things in the aftermath of Rush Limbaugh's death. He said despicable things in the world of politics his whole life. Many people have. I thought we were supposed to be better than that. I thought the right wing was going to take the high ground. I thought we were supposed to be standing in solidarity with the victims and families of drug abuse, with the drugs pouring in. Boy, oh boy, we threw all that out the window real quick, didn't we? It didn't even take, 24 hours after Rob Reiner was killed for MAGA to go full psycho, full celebrate, full dance on the grave, full we don't care about the high ground anymore. And so Rob Reiner gets the last laugh. Rob Reiner gets the last laugh. He exposes the hypocrisy of Donald Trump, and he exposes the hypocrisy of MAGA. How poetic. How poetic. Now, Rob Reiner, obviously, nobody here, I don't think anybody here is going to back any of his political opinions or statements over the years. But the guy did make some all-time American movies. The guy is an all-timer when it comes to American cinema. That is undeniable. You could even argue TV with All in the Family. But definitely with the movies he produced. And I guess the latest movie coming out, Spinal Tap 2, I think is what they're calling it. And then apparently he was working on some documentary dealing with Putin and Trump and Russia and America. I don't know if that ever is going to get produced or not. That was something he was teasing. But Rob Reiner. And you know, it's even more poetic because they did it to themselves. You could have just said Rob Reiner was a passionate liberal who stated his case He was a great American filmmaker. And today, because of a tragedy, it looks like a family tragedy involving drug abuse and people struggling with it. It looks like Rob and his wife were murdered in cold blood. Could have had something like that, but it's Trump derangement. It's all about me. It's all about Trump. It's all about MAGA. It's all about politics. Me. And then the rest of MAGA now dancing on the grave and celebrating. The fish rots from the head, folks. And the head of this movement, or whatever it is now, whatever it used to be, is Donald Trump. And everything is rotting from the head. And maybe there's something to it. Maybe there's something to it. After that bullet whizzed by his head, everything changed. I can't blame the man. His decision process, the weight of it all, what he valued, his priorities, everything changed in that moment when he survived that. And I think it's clear. And now he feels invincible. He feels untouchable. There's nobody that will check him. There's nobody around him that would dare check him, dare second guess him, dare say maybe not, dare say no. Nobody around him like that. All yes men, all just riding the wave. And now because of it, Rob Reiner gets the last laugh and has exposed the hypocrisy in what is now MAGA and President Trump. It's a soulless, heartless movement. It's another just politics as usual, Hollywood sideshow. They say one thing, they do the other. Their policies don't apply universally. Their logic doesn't apply universally. And it's so out of control now that they give Rob Reiner the last laugh. All you had to do was be respectful of the guy. All you had to do was maintain the consistency in your logic of standing with the victims of drug abuse and death and everything that comes along with it. But you had to make it about Trump. And you had to make it about Trump derangement syndrome. Well, Trump derangement syndrome goes both ways now. You've got the side of the people that hate Trump that have Trump derangement syndrome, and you've got the side of the people that love Trump, are obsessed with Trump, and are now in this Trump cult that also have Trump derangement syndrome. And Trump knows it, by the way. He's living off of it. He's feeding off of it. Then you get into the news. The Brown University shooting, we'll have news on that. The shooting in Australia, we'll have news on that. There was only one representative that I saw, and I forgot the lady's name. But she left her church. She got burned alive. I don't even remember her name. That's how effective the anti-propaganda is. There was no big news stories about that, no big news push about that, no big round-the-clock coverage, all networks on that. Nobody covered it. The only member of Congress I saw mention it was Marjorie Taylor Greene, and the story was in Georgia. Might have been in her district. Nice Christian woman, leaves church, goes for a walk, gets burned alive. Nobody covers it. I got 9 shootings in Chicago this weekend, which is actually a low number, thank God. A low number. 9 shootings in Chicago. Anybody talking about that? Anybody talking about that? One of the victims was 14 years old. Another was a 48-year-old man just standing on the street. Gets caught with a stray in some other argument he had nothing to do with. Did you hear about any of that? This was all just on Saturday, actually. Or I'm sorry. No, you had, looks like 7 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. 9 shootings in Chicago. Any round-the-clock coverage on that? I could do this in any city. They don't cover that. And this isn't to take away from the seriousness of what happened in Australia. This isn't to take away from the larger issue that's obviously surrounding it. It's just to say that how many people actually decide what they care about? How many people actually decide what they're informed about and what they know and what they don't know? And the answer to that is actually a very small number. Most people only care about what they're told to care about. Most people only know about what they're told to know about. And it's all by design. And that's how you know there's another agenda afoot. You see, addressing the gun violence in America really has no political leverage for anybody. It's not going to win you an election. It's not going to lose you an election. Now, Democrats might run on gun control because they fundraise off of it. And they might think it wins them some votes. But do they really care? It's all about political leverage. It's all about political points. They don't actually have consistency as far as their values or logic is concerned. It's all about what can I do to raise more money? What can I do to get more votes? What can I do to get more attention? Same thing in the media. So the average American, it just depends on what's on TV. That's all they know about. What's in front of me? What's on TV? What does the TV tell me I need to care about? So everybody will hear about the beach shooting in Australia. Everybody will be hearing about that. They'll make sure you hear about that, and they'll make sure you know that it's a part of the rise of anti-Semitism, because ultimately they want to use that to take away your right to free speech. And this isn't up for debate. This is a fact. And in the aftermath of this shooting, and I've got multiple videos today, they are now calling for internet censorship. They want to censor the internet, the new force multiplier being anti-Semitism. But then when you listen to them talk, you realize it's not really about anti-Semitism. It's really about any criticism of Israel that they want to erase from the internet. They want to ban any criticism of Israel. And you know what? Golly gee, why not? Since nobody can let Charlie Kirk rest in peace. Isn't this exactly what Charlie Kirk was warning about right before he was killed? And he would ask in public, he would ask in private, he'd say, why is it that I'm allowed to criticize the American government but not the Israeli government? Isn't that strange? Would you like that question asked and answered, or is that kind of question going to get you shot? Would you like that question asked and answered, or is that kind of question going to get you censored off the internet? It's not up for debate. They're talking about it. They're telling you this is the plan now. So then you can decide whether you believe this is all organic or whether you think this is all part of a plan, a part of a script to bring about the internet censorship. But the result is the same. So you can have the debate about what you think is driving it or if it's organic or not. The result is the same. They are coming to censor the internet, and they will be censoring the internet on behalf of Israel, and they will be using the phrase of anti-Semitism as the force multiplier for the censorship. But really, it's just Israel gets to do whatever it wants and nobody gets to criticize it. Then how can you blame anybody for reaching the conclusion that your country, the United States of America, is controlled by a foreign country? How can you blame anybody for reaching that conclusion when you see all the signs, all the patterns, all of it right around you? It's not even debatable. So that's where we're at. So I'll get into all of this news, but you didn't hear about 9 shootings in Chicago, I'm guessing. I'm guessing you didn't hear about that. Now, this was a pretty big story. Didn't get much attention. DOJ arrests 4 people for allegedly planning to set off bombs around Los Angeles area on New Year's Eve. This is where you have the Olympics coming up. This is where I'm imagining they'll have some World Cup games. By the way, I think the Winter Olympics kick off in less than a month here. FBI agents arrested the individuals before they completed assembling a functional explosive device, according to a court filing. The Justice Department arrested 4 people in connection with an alleged plot to set off bombs in the Los Angeles area on New Year's Eve, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced. Bondi said that the members of Turtle Island Liberation Front. Do you know about the Turtle Island Liberation Front? TILF. Well, I didn't know they had a Liberation Front, but I do know about the Turtle Island conspiracy theories. That's a wild one. She described them as a far-left group. I guess they're far-left. They're kind of aligned with Black Lives Matter. Had planned to conduct a series of bombings against multiple targets in California beginning on New Year's Eve. The group had acquired bomb-making materials and traveled to a remote location in the Mojave Desert to construct and detonate test explosive devices on December 12th, according to the criminal complaint. FBI agents arrested the individuals before they completed assembling a functional explosive device. This is wild. The suspects face charges of conspiracy and possession of an unregistered destructive device, said Bill Asili, the first assistant U.S. attorney in the United States Attorney's Office in the Central District of California. Both an FBI informant and an undercover FBI employee were involved in the operation. So is that another sting operation where they have the feds in there and they come up with the plot and the idea and then they just draw people in? Or were they following this and then got involved in after somebody else decided to do it? We know that happens both ways. So who was really planning on blowing up Los Angeles? FBI agents or the suspects arrested? Whose idea really was it? Well, either way, the arrests have been made. 4 of them. So did feds infiltrate the Turtle Island Liberation Front, or did feds start it so that they could bring people in and set them up? And there's actually been a 5th arrest now. A 5th person was arrested by the FBI in New Orleans, Kash Patel said, for allegedly planning a separate violent attack. They say that suspect is also known to be linked or believed to be linked to TILF, the Turtle Island Liberation Front. The Turtle Island Liberation Front is now doing plots, bomb plots. It's getting wild out there. So here was the Fox News headline. Tell me if, how do you think they're going to paint this one? FBI arrests 4 alleged members of radical pro-Palestine group. Yes, the pro-Palestine group. It's that again. It's everything about Israel. We need to do more to protect Israel. We need to do more in the interest of Israel. Don't you know it's more pro-Palestine terror? So there you go. There you go. Now, meanwhile, more Americans should be outraged by this, but the conditioning has them, oh, that's just normal. Grieving Iowa police chiefs reveals son was one of 3 U.S. soldiers killed in Syria. This just happened over the weekend. Oh, boy, oh, boy. 3 U.S. soldiers killed in Syria, folks. 3 U.S. soldiers killed in Syria. And this is where the administration has just become a complete and utter joke. This is where the administration has become a complete and utter travesty. First off, there shouldn't be a single U.S. soldier in Syria. Not one. Not one. There shouldn't be a single U.S. soldier anywhere in the Middle East, quite frankly. But here you go. Now, 3 more U.S. soldiers are dead in the Middle East, in Syria. And then Trump comes out and says, we're going to attack ISIS. Hey, bro, you just put ISIS in charge of Syria. What are we doing? You literally just let ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Mossad, CIA proxy groups overthrow Assad and overthrow the Syrian government. And then you let the leader of Al-Qaeda in to run it, who's obviously just now, clearly he was intelligence asset the entire time. Clearly he was Mossad and or CIA the entire time, Jolani. So you have your Mossad, CIA proxy groups running their operations in the Middle East to overthrow governments, to cause chaos and death and destruction. You have to fund it all, by the way. You have to slave away as an American slave to fund all of this, all on the behest of Israel, all at the behest of Israel's interest and the Netanyahu regime. 3 more Americans die in Syria. Trump says, we're going to fight radical Islamic terror. He just gave Syria to Al-Qaeda. He just gave Syria to the Taliban. And he had the guy in the White House shaking his hand. Of course, we know that was just a intelligence asset, which shows you that it's the CIA and Mossad that run the whole thing. So you're the slave that pays for it. And then the intelligence agencies run their coups run their overthrows all over the world, specifically here in the Middle East. And then what? USA soldiers die. So the American slaves pay for it. The American slaves die for it. The intelligence networks run it, and Israel benefits from it. This is your policy in the Middle East, and it's the exact same under Donald Trump. Probably now it will be worse than ever. And he keeps sitting here talking about peace deals. There is no peace. There are no peace deals. It's all a front. Trump claims he has stopped the fighting between Cambodia at the border there. They had a bunch of fighting going on. That was a peace deal that he struck. Broke out into fighting again. Claims that he stopped that. We'll see if that one lasts again. How about this? How about not a single U.S. soldier dead in the Middle East ever again? How about that? What a disaster. This story should never exist. U.S. soldiers should not even be in Syria. U.S. soldiers should not even be engaged anywhere in the Middle East. But now it's only going to get worse. Now there's only going to be more war, more death, more destruction, and the American slaves will pay for it, and the American soldiers will die for it. And I, quite frankly, am pissed off that Donald Trump is allowing this to continue. I am pissed off. But hey, Trump is so out of it now. Trump is so out of place now. Trump is so I don't even know what now that he's going to let Rob Reiner get the last laugh on him. And ironically enough, this was Jack Posobiec last night. He says, "You won't see people on the right celebrating the horrific murder of Rob Reiner and his wife. Compare that to the left's reaction to Charlie Kirk's murder." Oops. Well, I guess Jack spoke too soon as the president came out with his own little statement there, saying it was because of Trump derangement syndrome. Crazy. Making it about him. Folks, this guy, I said it last week, the narcissism of this guy has taken over. There is nothing else left. It's all narcissism. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that there is nothing left of Donald Trump except narcissism. I don't think he can think clearly. I don't know what it is that caused this. Seems like it started after they tried to kill him in Butler, Pennsylvania. But now he himself has Trump derangement syndrome. Now the number one case of Trump derangement syndrome is Trump himself and MAGA. And Rob Reiner gets the last laugh in his death because he proved it. He proved it. He proved the biggest suffering. Those suffering from Trump derangement syndrome the most are actually Donald Trump himself and this new MAGA movement. That Trump makes Rob Reiner's death about himself. Now, let me do a string of I called it's or never doubt me, folks. What do you want to call these? Never doubt me, folks? Let me do a string of them. So if you don't follow the show regularly, this one might not hit for you. But if you do, then you'll understand. What did I tell you last week? What did I say? Let's see if you guys remember. What did I say was all going to boil down to last week? What did I say? I feel like this whole conversation is going to go back to a singular event and whether or not you believe the official narrative of that. Do you guys remember? You guys remember in the chat? What did I say? I said it seems like this is all going to end up with one event and whether or not you believe it or not. Do you guys remember what it was? The Twin Towers were taken down by migrants who hated America too. And there it is. And there it is. What did I tell you? This whole thing is eventually going to boil down to September 11th. That's where this is all going to end up, folks. It's inevitable. It's impossible to avoid. And now you're going to start seeing it. Now you're going to start seeing it. Remember 9/11. Remember 9/11. Remember the Muslims. Remember the Muslims. Remember Al-Qaeda. Remember Al-Qaeda. It's the only thing they have. There's no justification anymore of this continuation of the wars in the Middle East. There's no justification anymore for being in the Middle East at all. There's no justification anymore for supporting what Israel is doing in its 7-front war. There is no more justifying it. There is no more winning the debate. The debate is over. The debate is lost. So now all they have is look at this, look at that, look at 9/11, which is going to be interesting because it's inevitably where they're going to end up. Inevitably, they're going to end up telling you to support all of this because of September 11th. And then the debate will begin. How many of you actually believe the official narrative of September 11th? And can you imagine this reset in the year 2026? This is going to be the reset. This is going to be the reset on the Middle East conversation. This is going to be the reset on the conversation of supporting Israel. This is going to be the reset, is September 11th. Never forget. Remember September 11th. Remember Al-Qaeda. Remember Islamic Terror. That's going to be where they go. And then that's going to open up a whole new realm that maybe it's past due to have that debate and have it out on the right, which they'll lose that debate too. But this is where it's all going. It's all going back to September 11th. They have no other justification for any of this. They have no other justification for it. So they're ultimately going to end up telling you, remember September 11th. And then that conversation will begin again. That's how it's going to go. Here's another one. What did I tell you? I told you that the Democrats were going to run on the anti-Israel ticket in 2026, didn't I? Sure did. Now here's John Fetterman. What is he, about 2 weeks, 3 weeks? When did we come out there? A month ago? We never doubt me, folks. So we told you that the conversation would always go back to September 11th. So never doubt me. I told you that the Democrats are going to be running on the anti-Israel ticket in 2026. Never doubt me. But here's Fetterman saying it.
I just can't ever defend some of the things you've said or this kinds of a language. And people with my party, too, to defend things like from the river to the sea or to globalize the intifada and thing.
By the way, he's reading all of this off his phone, and obviously he has brain problems, but he has to read all of this off a script off of his phone. He's literally, you can see him.
We all know what that really means. And, if our party continues to back away from that, the people that are running for the Senate, too, parts of their campaign have been defined by being anti-Israel. I'm going to send back their money and I'm going to adopt these strong anti-Israel things. That's a betrayal of our party's values. There's only one nation in the region that live the kinds of values that we aspire for, and that how we live here in our country. I can't imagine how we can firmly stand with Israel, but that's been motivated by parts of the party's base. And part of that was turned after social media, TikTok and other social media platforms.
Now you see why they transferred the ownership of TikTok. I mean, folks, this is all going one direction.
The anti-Israel kinds of views outnumber it 17-1% online. And that's poisoned an entire generation in our nation as well, too, with this strong kinds of anti-Israel views that are absolutely devoid of context or the history, or in some cases are absolutely not even true in fabrication.
Of course. So guys, I got to ask, and don't worry, I got more, hate to say I told you so's. I got more never doubt me's here in the stack before we close the hour. I'm really feathering my nest with it today, I have to tell you. How does it feel, though? I have to ask you, how does it feel to live in the Middle East? Do you like it? Do you like living in the Middle East? Are Middle East politics fun for you? Because in case you haven't noticed, America's left out of this conversation altogether. Notice that? The biggest topic we talk about in American politics are Jews and Muslims and the Middle East. How do you like living in the Middle East, guys? Do you like living in the Middle East politically? Are you sick of it yet? Would you like to continue down this road? Would you like to live through what Jews and Muslims in the Middle East have been living through for generations? Because that's what you're about to go into. Christian America is dead after this. This administration is destroying Christian America, completely destroying it, leaving it out to pasture, hanging it out to dry, cutting off its oxygen. It's done. There is no idea of a Christian America anymore. There is no idea of a sovereign America anymore. There is no identity or culture of a Christian America anymore. It's dead after this. It's gone. It's all Middle East now. It's all Jews versus Muslims now. Now, there will be an equal and opposite reaction to this. It will happen. It will happen in the media. It will happen politically. Looks like the Democrats are going to try to get ahead of it. But this is where you're at. So everybody gets to pick a side. It's not, are you pro-America or not? Are you pro-Christian or not? Are you pro-American culture, identity, history, tradition? No, all of that's dead. All of that's out the window. See ya. Now it's all about, are you with the Jews or are you with the Muslims? Are you with Israel or are you with the terrorists? That's all it is now. That's your binary in American politics now. And the Trump administration is forcing that issue. The Trump administration is now the catalyst of that binary option. Now, the crazy part of this is that ultimately, this is going to result in some form of a new revolution of American identity, maybe even white identity, Christian identity, because the average American is not Jewish, not Muslim, doesn't care about the Middle East, doesn't want to hear about the Middle East anymore, is broke, trying to pay their own bills, trying to take care of their own kids, trying to take care of their own parents, trying to run a business, whatever it is. They're not thinking about the Middle East. They want nothing to do with the Middle East. But see, the Democrats are going to realize this first. They're going to run on this. They're going to win the midterms, and then they're going to win in 2028 because the Republican Party just can't abandon it. The Republican Party has abandoned the issue of America, and they've gone all in on the issue of Israel now. So it will lose elections. And until they decide to drop the issue of Israel, Republicans will never lose any more elections. And Trump did all of this, by the way. Trump destroyed Republican Party politics for Israel. Trump destroyed the MAGA movement for Israel. And now that's where everything is going. And so the Democrats are going to get out ahead of that. And they're going to say, you know what? We realize most Americans are sick of this crap. So we're going to run against that. And they will win. And then the Republicans will sit here scratching their heads saying, oh, golly gee. Oh, gee, I can't figure it out. We should do more. They'll double down. They'll triple down. They don't get it. They'll blame it on anti-Semitism. They'll blame it on everything that it's not. What did I tell you? Mainstream Islam is going to be the new key phrase. Here's Randy Fine. Mainstream Muslims, mainstream Islam. You can't make peace with them. You have to destroy them. Very nice. Very nice. So see, here's my problem. Let me just play this clip. Let me just play this clip from Randy Fine.
I don't know how you make peace with those who seek your destruction. I think you destroy them first. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
So, folks, you have to understand what's about to happen to this country. You have to understand what's about to happen in your country, folks. With people like Randy Fine saying that we have to destroy Islam, with people like Randy Fine and the likeness in the media and the likeness in politics, basically declaring war against Islam in your name, by the way, in your name, Christian, in your name, American, in your name, white man, in your name, black man, in your name, Hispanic man. Randy Fine is declaring war against Islam and Muslim in your name. Randy Fine isn't going to go fight. Randy Fine hasn't fought anything other than a line at the buffet. Randy Fine isn't going to pick up a gun. He's going to pick up a spoon. Randy Fine isn't going to send his kids to the front line. Randy Fine and his family left the front line. They came here. And now they're going to send your sons and daughters. And now they're going to censor your sons and daughters. And now they're going to sit here and use the American flag and use Christian men and women. And they're going to look at 1.6 billion Muslims in the Middle East and say, ha ha, we hate you. We want to kill all of you. And that's mainstream Islam. You're all going to get destroyed by us. And they're going to do that behind your flag. And they're going to do that behind your identity. And then when Muslims come here and blow themselves up, and then when Muslims come here and launch a terror attack on a Christmas market, and then when Muslims come here and do an attack on a synagogue or a church, then they'll say, see, it's time for war. We told you. What do you think is going to happen when people like Randy Fine and others declare war against Islam and the Muslim world, 1.6 billion people? What do you think is going to happen? Of course they're going to start a war here. Of course they're going to try to kill Americans. That's exactly what people like Randy Fine want. They want Muslims to come here and kill us. That way they can say, see, we told you Muslims are bad. Go blow them all up. Why? So that Israel can have its way in the Middle East. So I told you they'd start saying mainstream Islam. So that's 3. But why stop there? They're now changing the narrative. And they're saying that the gun was not disassembled after Charlie Kirk was shot. Oh, so what did we say? We said it was impossible for Tyler Robinson to disassemble the gun and then run across the roof in less than 3 seconds. So now they're saying, oh, the gun was not disassembled. They misspoke at the press conference. Oh. It took you guys a while to catch up that one didn't line up, that one didn't make sense. But okay, now 3 months later, you're caught up that was complete BS. And now you're saying, oh, so now we're what? So now we're supposed to see the gun in all the videos. See how that one goes. So there you go. 4 in a row. Call that a grand slam. 4 for 4 to start off the Monday. 4 for 4 to start off the Monday on Hate to Say I Told You So. No, we'll call those the Never Doubt Me's. Never doubt me, folks. 4 for 4, never doubt me to start off the week on a Monday.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
All right, guys, I'm monitoring what's happening here. The good news is there's still plenty of holiday flavors at blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. But a lot of these holiday flavors are selling out fast, folks. They're selling out fast. You got to go to blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. If you like the single-serve pods, if you have one of those coffee makers in your house like I do with the single-serve pods, very convenient. And every once in a while, if you like coffee, you don't want to drink the same thing over and over again. You might want to get a different flavor. So go to blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. Look at all the single-serve pods for yourself. Now, some of the stuff that they always have around: blueberry crumble, cinnamon French toast, chocolate cherry. You know that those are going to taste good. Double dark chocolate. There's not much better than a chocolate-flavored coffee, if I do say so myself. But if you want something that's maybe got a little holiday vibe to it, a little holiday flavor to it even, the pumpkin spice, the eggnog, the candy cane, the peppermint mocha, the winter wonderland, back in stock, by the way. Winter wonderland, back in stock, always selling out. 5-star reviews. So if you want to get a little Christmas flavor with your coffee this December, go to blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. Go check out the single-serve pods. Check out all the different holiday flavors before it's sold out. So when the friends, the family are in town for Christmas, you can serve them up a nice hot pot of joe with a little Christmas flavor to it, a little seasonal seasoning, if you will, but only at blackoutcoffee.com/Owen, the official coffee of the Owen Report.
Navigating between the sane and insane. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, there's just crazy stuff breaking. So Fox News is now reporting that Dan Bongino is considering a resignation at the FBI. Now, I told you some time ago that my sources were telling me he wanted to leave already, and then after Charlie was shot, he said he wanted to stick around to do that investigation and then was going to review it in 2026. So it looks like all of that is being confirmed now by Fox News. To me, this all points to he's leaving. I don't know why they would build up an announcement like this unless that was the case. It kind of confirms what my sources were telling me was already going on. And then if you go back, what did I tell you last week, folks? If people start leaving this administration, that's red alert. If people start to leave this administration left and right, that's red alert, folks, that this is not good. And while Bongino might be the least concerning case, it is also the most concerning case. It's the least concerning case because it's like, well, he's got a reputation. He wants to be able to go back to his podcast audience. And if he feels like this administration is not going to get the things done, or he can't get the things done that he needs to in this administration, then he probably figures it's better for him to just leave now so that he can still go back to his podcast audience. Where if he sticks around for 4 years and there's no deep state arrests, then how does he go back to his podcast audience? But it's also the most concerning because of all the different people, Bongino was probably the one that you would think would get in there and get stuff done. And if he can't get stuff done, then what are we doing? So to me, if Bongino goes, it's kind of the least concerning because it's like, well, that makes the most sense for him to go. But it's the most concerning because it's like, well, if Bongino can't get anything done, then who can? He had the most to gain, just like he had the most to lose. So it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. So, okay, Bongino leaves. I understand it. He needs to go back to his podcast audience. Bongino leaves. Oh, my gosh. Even Bongino can't get anything done. If he walks, folks, I would expect the floodgates to open. If Bongino goes, and I guarantee you people are going to be begging him to stay. The mere optics of it are not going to be good for the administration. They'll be begging him to stay. But if he goes, I expect the floodgates to open. I expect that to be a major moment. And they're going to start to realize, just like Jen Psaki did, the longer I stick around this administration, the worse I look and the less chance I have in the future. Now, this is, and then Trump came out. Trump came out and said he's going to declare fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction. So we're just going to bomb everybody that makes fentanyl now. I mean, this is a joke. What is the problem? Oh, what a shame. How do Kansas City Chiefs fans feel today? They got eliminated from the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes out for at least the rest of this year. Chiefs fans probably thought, here comes another Super Bowl run. Now you're out. It's kind of like Trump fans right now. It's like, oh, Trump. It's like Team Trump. We thought we were getting everything. Actually, no, you're eliminated from the playoffs, Actually, you're eliminated from the playoffs and your top player doesn't even play for your team anymore. Who had the Bolts this weekend, huh? Very symbolic. So, okay, Trump says we're declaring fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction. They're getting ready for war, folks. This is just, it's turning into Bush 2.0, maybe worse. Maybe worse. There's an update right now with the Brown shooting. The shooter, there's a manhunt underway. The shooter is still at large. There's a manhunt ongoing. They don't even have the shooter apprehended. And as we are here, Erica Kirk made this announcement last night. Candace Owens and I are meeting for a private in-person discussion on Monday, December 15th. Candace Owens and I have agreed that public discussions, live streams, and tweets are on hold until after this meeting. I look forward to a productive conversation. Thank you. This is going to be interesting. Let's see how that goes. Haven't heard anything on that yet. Now, Erica Kirk finished her media tour this week, although I guess the media tour is going to continue. I don't know. Forever, I guess. She's now the CEO of Turning Point USA. I don't know. I don't know. This is not meaning to be condescending, but obviously Erica Kirk gave up her career as a model, beauty pageant, whatever comes around with that, to be a mother and a wife. But I guess, she's a widow now and she's the CEO. And so I don't know if she's put being a mother on hold or if she's just going to go full CEO mode. But that seems to be the case. And again, no condescension here, just reporting the facts. So is it now the Erica Kirk show? Is she now going to be in front of the public 24/7? It's not gone so well, ladies and gentlemen. It's not gone so well. The reception, I think that the patience, and I think that the respect that people had for Erica, especially in the wake of Charlie getting shot, and then the big ceremony in Arizona, it seems like a lot of the grace and respect after the media tour this week for Erica Kirk has now been lost, and it's going a different direction now. And I said this last week, this whole thing is so toxic, I don't even want to touch it, but it's in the news now. It's in the news, and it's now become this Charlie Kirk loved Israel tour. And that's now it's been turned into. That's now what's being forced into these segments every single time. She finishes with Barry Weiss, who's tied into Larry Ellison, who's the #1 donor of the IDF, who they gave TikTok over to censor on behalf of Israel. Barry Weiss, who also was a major COVID head, supported vaccines and masks and social distancing. She was wiping down everything she touched with alcohol wipes and sanitizer. And now she's the big CBS head. She's getting the big town hall. So again, it all goes one direction. It's undeniable. You can't tell me this isn't all going one direction from this administration, folks. It's all going one direction. And it ain't for you. It ain't for America. So this is what it turned into, concluding this weekend with the Charlie Kirk morning has now turned into you better support Israel.
Charlie always would say very clearly, Jew hate was brain rot. He would always say it. We've been to Israel twice together. And to be able to walk in the place where our Lord walked and see the Bible come to life in Technicolor, how could you hate that place?
Now, see, this is where we start to become at odds. This is where we start to get an issue. I don't want to think the worst of Erica Kirk here, folks, and I've been very respectful not to go down this road, and I still don't want to. But let's be perfectly clear. I don't know what Erica Kirk is thinking here. And so I'll give her the benefit of the doubt, and I'll just say that, Erica, you're misunderstanding this issue. This isn't about Israel. This isn't about a land mass. This isn't even about Jewish people. This isn't about Israeli Jews. This is about Benjamin Netanyahu, who has lied to America for decades. This is about an American foreign policy in the Middle East that has cost us $20 trillion and tens of thousands of American lives, not to mention the life lost in the Middle East. And this is about an Israeli foreign intelligence operation that lies to us to get us to go fight in the Middle East and use our tax dollars and our blood and treasure to fight wars on their behalf. This is about an Israeli foreign lobby that buys off our Congress, and our Congress is now more loyal to Israel than it is to the American people. That's the issue here. It's not about a landmass. It's not even about the Israelis. It's about bad foreign policy. It's about bad foreign allies. And it's about the American people are being sick of caught up in this circle, this cycle of corruption. That's what this is about. So this whole thing is a distraction. And I don't want to think that Erica Kirk is a part of it. It's a very sensitive thing right now, obviously. But maybe that's why she's out here doing this. I can't help but wonder. I've been around too long to know that things don't always come across at face value. But now this is what the American people get, and they're all tuned in. They all want to hear from Erica. It's the grieving widow. It's the big story. And it's, you better support Israel. And it's, how can you not like that people and that place? This is not about that. This is not about that. And now Erica, whether wittingly or unwittingly, is now part of a foreign propaganda operation. Again, wittingly or unwittingly, I don't know, Erica. I can only go off of what we're seeing in the public, which now has been more than a week-long media tour. So yeah, it's fair to say that I don't think we've ever seen a widow grieve like this. That doesn't inherently mean anything bad, but I think that that's fair to say. I think that that's true. But now, okay, you're going to do the public events. You're not beyond scrutiny. And if you're going to come out here and completely misrepresent one of the biggest issues in American politics and then try to replace Charlie Kirk's voice, who saw what was going on. We all saw what happened the last couple weeks before Charlie died. I have to give up the Israel cause. I'm being bullied by Jewish donors. These were Charlie Kirk's last words on the issue. But now here emerges Erica to replace Charlie, who's going right back onto the you better support Israel or else. So again, is she unwittingly misinterpreting this issue for the American people, or is she wittingly? Is she doing it intentionally to misrepresent this issue for the American people? And folks, let's just say what it is. Hundreds of millions of dollars are at stake. Hundreds of millions of dollars are at stake. Okay?
How could you hate the Jewish people? Why? Because you need to fulfill a conspiracy theory? I'm wrapped in, people say I'm a part of conspiracy theories all the time. It's sick, and it needs to stop. We are human. No one is perfect. No Christian is perfect. No Jew is perfect. No Muslim is perfect. We are broken, sinful humans in need of a Lord and Savior. And that's why it is so important to give your life to the Lord. Because once you do that and you fully surrender to the Lord, you
I'm assuming she's talking about Jesus Christ here.
have no room in your heart for hate. And so, sir, I am so sorry what happened to your daughter. I pray that does not happen, and I pray that that is something that we can somehow extinguish in this world. But we are living in enemy-occupied territory. And every single day we need to guard ourselves, guard our minds, guard our heart. And the best way to do that is reading God's word. And you cannot separate the Old Testament from the New Testament. You cannot.
Actually, you definitely can. They're two separate books. There's two different covenants. Folks, I don't want to judge Erica here. I don't. Okay. But I have to respond to what she's saying. Now, we'll see what happens in this meeting with Candace Owens. But let me just ask this, and you know what? I won't direct this towards Erica. Let me direct this towards Mike Huckabee instead. But I could ask Erica the same thing. But to Mike Huckabee, I'm just curious. You know, Mike talks about how great Israel is all the time and how the American people owe Jews everything and Israel everything. That's what he says. And I'm just curious, Mike, do you ever go out to Israel and do you ever preach the New Testament? Do you ever try to convert people to the gospel of Christ? Because, you know, apparently this is what we're told as Christians, that we have to spread the word of Jesus Christ. And Erica just said that you need to invite Jesus into your heart to be saved. When Erica goes to Israel, is she on mission trips? When Erica Kirk goes to Israel, is she there to convert people to give their life to Jesus Christ? Mike Huckabee, the ambassador to Israel, how many days does he spend out with the people trying to bring them to Christ and save them, right? I mean, that's the faith here. If you give your heart to Jesus, you're going to heaven, right? That's the entry to heaven is Jesus Christ. So if you deny Jesus Christ, what are we saying here? So how many people is Erica Kirk trying to save that haven't given their life to Jesus Christ? Does she go and evangelicalize in Israel? Is Mike Huckabee going and trying to convert people to Jesus Christ? Because if you care about these people, the only way to get to heaven is Jesus Christ. So if they reject Jesus Christ, what are we saying here? No, it's just browbeat the American people. No, it's just browbeat Christians. It's total illogic. It's total illogic. And it's blasphemous, quite frankly. It's blasphemous. So this is what we get. Now let's see what happens in this meeting. I wonder if or when we're going to hear about what goes down with Candace and Erica today. So Brown University, you had the shooting. Shooter is still at large, and Fox News got a guest on to talk about it.
We've been awake all night, shuttling students back and forth to their dorms, to their apartments from the gym where a lot of them were evacuated to. A lot of my friends who ended up sheltering in just random places needed rides back to their apartments, to where they're living. So it's definitely been a long night. I'm Sabbath observant, so I was celebrating Shabbat over in Hillel, and all of a sudden it wasn't over yet. None of us were on our phones. The security guard at the Hillel building just leaped into action, and he said, "Everyone, upstairs. This is like really serious. There's a shooter." And luckily, a few of us had our phones in the building, and we sheltered in Hillel for almost 7 hours, a group of 30 students, if not more. And I just complete kudos to them and the Brown University team in support.
So there you go. There's the Fox News guest. Let me just take a step back here. Let me just take a step back and explain what has happened to the American people. Maybe just people at large here, but you know what? I'm going to talk about my people. I'm going to talk about my country. The American people have become so domesticated that they're really unrecognizable. And I won't talk about the situation in Australia, but that situation is like the perfect example of why we have a Second Amendment. It's like the perfect example. And Australia has very strict gun laws. I think it's so strict there, I'm not even sure if the cops carry guns. And so the shooter in Australia was able to just walk around with his gun for 20 minutes shooting people. And by the way, the videos that are coming out of that are so odd. It's so crazy watching the videos that come out of that. And there's so many videos. It's like people are just standing around watching this guy. Literally, they're just like standing, he's like pointing a gun at them, and they're like, "Hey, wait a second." It's crazy. But okay, that's Australia. We'll get to that in a second. The American people have been so domesticated. And they've been so brainwashed that just the idea of carrying a gun is now like so foreign, so scary, so frightening. Oh my gosh, you have a gun. Oh my gosh. No, it should be that is the culture. It should be that is the expectation. It should be it's scary not to carry a gun. And we're so domesticated as Americans now. We're so cucked and we're so domesticated now that we just sit here and react to this like worms. That we just sit here and react to this like invertebrate worms. Arm up. Arm up. Defend yourself, American. You keep hearing about these shootings. If you had good guys that were armed and knew how to use a gun and were tough Americans, rugged, tough Americans that knew how to fight and knew how to survive. If that genre of an American, if that culture of America still existed, you wouldn't have these mass shooters. We wouldn't be talking about a shooter at Brown University killing 2 people, wounding 9 others, and getting away. That son of a bitch would have been shot. An American would have pulled out his pistol and shot that son of a bitch. And now we sit here, oh my gosh, oh, what do I do? Oh, hide under a desk. Hide behind the door. Oh, and you go on the news. Oh. That's not America. That's a nation of slaves. That's a nation of domesticated sheep. You wouldn't have mass shootings in this country if you had Americans left. If you had Americans that were left, you wouldn't have any mass shootings. You get off a shot or two, somebody's pulling the pistol and taking you down. And that's it for you, buddy. And you see that a couple times, you're not trying that again in this country. You're not trying that again at a church. You're not trying that again at a synagogue. You're not trying that again at a university. If you know the minute you pull out that gun to kill somebody, 5 other people are going to grab their gun to kill you, you're not going to do it again. And instead we sit here and weep and cry and cower, because that's the new American culture. That's the new domesticated American slave. No, rise up. Arm up. That's the answer. Toughen up. Find your spine. Find your testicles. Find your gun again. Stop letting these people kill us. No, they're able to get away with it because they know everybody's disarmed. They're able to get away with it because they know everybody's cucked. They're able to get away with it because they know the average American is a domesticated slave, slop, fat, never even fired a gun, can't even do a push-up, a pull-up, run a mile. And then we watch these media tours. Oh my gosh, we were all hiding. And I'm sorry to sound insensitive, but maybe that's what this country needs, huh? Maybe it needs a little insensitivity. Maybe we've been so sensitized now. Oh my God. Oh. And we had to sit here and we watched the man in Australia go grab the guy's gun, and then they lied about who he was because he was a Muslim. So they didn't want you to think there was a good Muslim, right? There can't be a single good Muslim. So they said it was not a Muslim. Of course it was. But aside from that, we'll get into that news in a second. I'm sick of watching this nation, this country that used to be filled with Americans is now filled with a bunch of jellyfish, now filled with a bunch of dodo birds. And we sit here and we watch these attacks and these shootings time after time. And then what do? We go into the moaning and the weeping and the crying. Grab your damn gun and shoot the son of a bitch. I can't wait till somebody figures this out. And it's happened in Texas. Carry your gun. You go to a synagogue and you don't have a gun on you? I think you're nuts. You go to a church and you don't have armed security? I think you're nuts. You go to a college campus and you don't have armed security? I think you're nuts. I even notice now there's events in Texas. This just comes with a sense of awareness when you've had some level of training for security. Just a sense of awareness. And then you find out, okay, where are soft targets? Where are hard targets? So when I go to a place and I see that there is no security at all, and they say you can't have a gun here, I rarely, if ever, will go back. I avoid those places. Those are hot spots for a mass shooting. Now, I go to an event and I see cops everywhere. I go to an event and I know that you can conceal carry. I go to an event and I know if there's plenty of security here. Oh, that makes me feel good. I'll go back to that event. If you're in a soft target zone at a school, at a church, at a synagogue, wherever, if you're a soft target zone and you don't have armed security, and if you're not armed yourself, what are you doing? You're a dodo bird. You're a jellyfish. You're a domesticated American slave. That is not the American way. That is not the American culture. We used to determine our own fate. We used to control our own lives. Now we sit here and we hide under a desk and we lock ourselves in a closet and we run to the government for protection. It's not America. And that's how we've been domesticated. And that's why everybody's coming in here and using and abusing us and treating us like slaves, because we're behaving like it. We're behaving like slaves. So let's get some reaction here from the Bondi Beach shooting. This gentleman was there, recounting.
Can you tell me what happened?
Yes, it was two shooters, one on the bridge, one under the bridge. Just start to shoot for 20 minutes. They shoot, change magazine and just shoot. Simple as that. 20 minutes was 4 policemen there. Nobody gave fire back. Nothing like that.
This is crazy. This is crazy.
Froze. Like for, it looked like 20 minutes. Like, and they shoot. The guy changed magazine. I look at him all the time. I was two of my babies under me, and I look at that, and it's just rifle and a pistol, and just shoot. And the other one was under. They start to come close to the audience. I think one of the people took his rifle and shoot him. That's one of them. That's what I saw. I didn't know how much I saw, but
Who were they targeting?
oh, all the crowd, anyone, Jewish, just shoot. Doesn't matter who. Men, all kids, everyone was no.
Did they say anything?
I couldn't hear. Like the shooting was so loud, we couldn't hear. They say I was too far. He was on the bridge. I was near the tent. So, but I saw. I look at him. I look what he shot. I look at his rifle. He aimed. He did. He really take his time. He should take his time. And 4 policemen there didn't give fire back. I don't understand why. Why?
Did they even have guns? Did they even have guns? Did the cops even have guns? How do you explain that? I can't even imagine this. I can't even imagine that, folks. I can't even imagine. First of all, the scene itself and not being armed. You're just like, okay, hope he doesn't shoot me. And then you're sitting there, you're watching this happen, and you're watching police do nothing. And I guess, look, let's not sit in too much judgment of people that did nothing. You never know what you might do in that situation until you're in it. So we'll withhold that judgment. We'll withhold that critique. But the police, that's your job. And then it took 20 minutes. It took 20 minutes for a man to go there and stop the shooting. It took 20 minutes. The cops standing around, everybody else standing around. I'm telling you, folks, the videos are just strange. And it's a bolt action rifle. So, I mean, he's sitting there and hitting it and then reloading it. It's not like it's a gun that fires off multiple rounds or high capacity. So people are literally just standing in front of him like, hey, can you stop shooting at us? And they're just standing like 20 yards from him, like asking him to stop. And he just... It's insane. The whole thing is insane. And then, and this is, folks, look, I won't even get into the Google search trends. It's the same story. Every time there's one of these shootings, there's a Google search trend a week or a month before with the exact name of the guy. It's almost inexplicable other than just totally suspicious. And then you had an individual who was an October 7th survivor who is also a survivor at the Bondi Beach incident. Now, all I'm going to say is this. The odds of this are 0%, ladies and gentlemen. The odds of this are 0%. And he's got a United States shirt on, too. I mean, I'm sorry, but this guy looks like a plant to me. The odds of you being at October 7th and Bondi Beach are literally 0%. Do you understand that? Literally 0%. And this guy's there. He's got a U.S. shirt on. Why would he not wipe all the blood off of his face? Why wouldn't he not wipe all this? He says he got shot in the head. Why wouldn't you wipe all of this stuff? Why are you keeping all this on your face? Why weren't you rushed to a hospital? How did you get the news interview? How did you end up in October 7th and at Bondi Beach? A 0% chance. I'd like to know if this guy had foreknowledge. Well, either way, he's either the luckiest man on the planet, he should go buy a lottery ticket, or I don't know. But if there's anything as an op, that screams op. Screams it. Then Netanyahu, after the incident, came out and said it was a Jewish man that saved the lives. He said a Jewish man came and took the gun and saved the lives of people at Bondi Beach. Well, the truth is it was actually a man named Ahmed El Ahmad, a 43-year-old Muslim. And so then all of a sudden they didn't want to talk about it. So when they thought it was a Jewish man, here it is.
Oh!
When they thought it was a Jewish man that was a hero, they were all celebrating it. And then when they found out it was a Muslim man, they didn't want to talk about him anymore. He was no longer a hero. But it was a Muslim man that did it. And how many Jewish lives did he save, by the way? A dozen? More? Now, I present to you this video because you just don't see enough of it. You don't hear enough of it. And part of the propaganda is to make you think, and it's the same. This is why the Israel issue is Black Lives Matter for the right. You know, the left wants you to think that every single black person thinks and feels the same way. Obviously, that's not true. Well, the right wants you to think that every Jewish person thinks or feels the same way. That is also completely not true. So here's the opinion from a Jewish man that you won't hear anywhere in Western media because it doesn't fit the propaganda or the agenda.
As a Jewish person, I don't feel safe right now. And it's not because I'm outside of Columbia University. It's because of the crimes of the state of Israel. Don't get it twisted. It's not that Israel is unsafe because it's Jewish. Jews are unsafe because of Israel. That's what happens when a country uses Judaism as a cover for its ongoing oppression, dispossession, dehumanization, and killing of the Palestinian people. It puts Jews everywhere in danger. Free Palestine.
I've been saying it for years. It was probably about a year ago. I wonder when it was that I shot that video where I warned of this. I wonder when that was. I wonder if I could find it right now. But I shot a video probably over a year ago now. And I said, this is what's going to happen. And Jews are going to be the number one victim of this. Well, I can't find it right now. I'm not going to waste your time. But you may recall when I shot that video over a year ago. And I got a lot of heat for it, but of course, as usual, I turned out to be right. But it doesn't matter because this is all being done intentionally. For that Jewish man, you are being used as a political body shield intentionally. The Israeli Jews, and I guess even the American Jews that support this, or some would describe them as the Zionists, they want you as their political body shield. They want you to stand in the line of fire so that they can get away with their war crimes and so that they can get away with all their different wars and lying about them. And then when anybody says anything about that, or anybody stands in the way of that, or anybody has any criticism of that, they put you in the line of fire and they say it's anti-Semitism. They're using you as political body shields. And that young man understands it. And he's 100% right. But the issue goes beyond that. So this is the other side of that issue. If you're sick of seeing all of this in the United States, it's not just the actions of Israel, but it's the consequences of the actions of Israel. So this is the other side of that issue that you're not going to hear, but it's also true.
You want me to tell you how to stop Arabs from entering America? This is what you do. Stop supporting Israel. That's it. You want a case in point?
this. Look at me right here. I'm Palestinian. I was born in America. Why am I here? I'm here because my family was displaced from their homes in Palestine. My grandparents were refugees. My mother was a refugee after they got pushed to Kuwait from Palestine, and then from Kuwait back, and now to America after Saddam Hussein's invasion. My entire story exemplifies why you shouldn't support Israel. If you don't want me in this country, and I love this country so much, and I'm proud to call myself an American, I love being here. But if you don't want to see me here, then I'm telling you, this is the key. Stop supporting Israel. If there was actual peace in the Middle East, you think that more Arabs would end up having to leave the Middle East? No, because if there was no damn destruction and all of their countries weren't destabilized, they would still be there. The second Americans stop supporting that project in the Middle East, then this Islamic caliphate that you're so worried about ceases to exist. That's your solution to fix the ongoing refugee crisis. I just gave you the solution. It's up to you whether or not you actually want to do anything about it.
He's 100% right. Folks, this is the logical conclusion. And when you understand this dynamic and when you understand the propaganda, there's only one logical conclusion. Most anti-Semitism today is derived from the actions of Israel and then putting an average Jew that has nothing to do with it in the line of fire. So Israel does whatever it wants. Israel kills hundreds of thousands of people. Israel kills tens of thousands of babies. And then they put an innocent Jew in front of you and they say, how dare you? Look at how anti-Semitic you are. You want to stop the anti-Semitism? Stop supporting Israel killing whoever the hell they want without any punishment. Stop letting Israel put innocent Jews in the line of fire for the actions of the Netanyahu regime. If you want to stop anti-Semitism, stop supporting the diabolical and demonic actions of Israel under the Netanyahu regime. And by the way, half of Israel has already figured that out, and now American Jews are starting to figure that out too. But that's only half of it. You want to stop Islamic terror attacks? Specifically, you want to stop Islamic terror attacks in the United States of America? You want to stop radical Muslims from coming to the United States of America? Same solution. Stop supporting Israel. Stop supporting Israel's wars. And see, now it's all starting to make sense. Now it's all starting to make sense. It's all about the war. It's all about the military-industrial complex. And yes, as far as our foreign policy is concerned, it's all about Israel. So do you really care about anti-Semitism? Do you really care about stopping radical Islamic terror attacks? Because if you do, you better stop supporting Israel, because that is the root cause of both of these issues right now, today. And if you're not ready to accept that fact, then you're still brainwashed. If you haven't reached that logical conclusion, then you're not trying. And that's why all the propaganda is aimed at America right now. That's why Netanyahu does 5 interviews a week in English. That's why Netanyahu does addresses in English. That's why they're spending millions of dollars on pro-Israel propaganda on social media. That's why Adelson gives hundreds of millions of dollars to Republicans. That's why AIPAC buys all sides of Congress, because it's all about that. These people don't care about stopping anti-Semitism. They like anti-Semitism. It fuels their agenda in the Middle East. It fuels their policy domestically. They love it. Look at how gleeful they are whenever something like this happens, and they're immediately ready to jump in front of the cameras to declare more support for Israel, more support for killing Muslims. It's just like the left after a mass shooting. The left comes out in fervor against the Second Amendment after every mass shooting because they love it. It gives them fuel for their policy. Same thing on the Israel issue. They love the anti-Semitism. They love the attacks on Jews. Then they get to come out and promote more policy that benefits Israel. They love it. They're just as sick as the left. That's why they're the woke right. And yes, of course, it's all the military invention in the Middle East on behalf of Israel that is causing Muslims to come to this country, whether it's because they need somewhere to live or whether it's because they realized, golly gee, this evil country in the Middle East that has killed 10 of my family members, the only reason they're able to do so is because of America and American support of it. And then they come here and they do, well, what do you expect them to do? There will never be. America will never thrive and prosper again until we remove ourselves from the Middle East. America will never be America again until we completely decouple from the Middle East and we reignite a desire of a Christian identity and a Christian ethos in this country. And dare I even say, a Christian supremacist culture. Dare I even say that? Folks, you're going into the Middle East politically. Everything is Jews and Muslims now. Everything is Middle East now. You don't even have a country. The white American is forgotten. You're a endangered species now. Nobody cares about you. The Christian movement in this country, the Christian revival, you're nothing. Your entire purpose is to support Israel now. America? What America? What America? $40 trillion in debt? Another $1.5 billion foreign aid for foreign wars? 30 million illegal aliens here? What America? What America? Tell me about America. What America are you talking about? The America that's falling apart? The America that's in debt? The America that is unhealthy? The America that's obese? The America that's addicted to drugs? The American city where there's more violence and poverty and crime? What America are you talking about? No, you're talking about the Middle East. You're talking about Middle East politics and Middle East culture and Middle East holy wars and Middle East hatred. Where are we talking about America? Where's the American Revolution? Where's the American revival? Oh, I got a nice cool hat. I got a motto. I got a slogan. Ooh. Where's America at? Where's our revival? No, it's all Middle East politics now. It's all Middle East culture now. Until we totally decouple and totally reject the Middle East, will America ever return to its once greatness? And by the way, that can include Jews, that can include Muslims, that can include everybody. But if you're going to leave the Middle East and then you're going to come here and bring your hatred and your holy war with you and your Middle East culture of hate and death and destruction with you, then you never really left the Middle East. You just brought it here. And that's what they've done, folks. That's what they've done. And it's only going to get worse. And this administration might be the worst of them all. Might be the worst of them all. And Laura Loomer, she's playing for that role of worst of them all. She said it was not a Muslim who disabled. They can't stand there being one good Muslim. They can't stand that there might be a good Muslim person out there. They hate all Muslims. They want you to hate all Muslims. They want you to believe that 1.6 billion Muslims are the worst thing on the planet. No, it was a Muslim man that saved Jewish lives that day. But Netanyahu can't say it. Laura Loomer can't say it. They can't let you believe that there's even the thought of a single good Muslim out there. They can't allow you that thought because it destroys their entire ideology. Their entire ideology is to convince you that every Muslim is bad and every Muslim wants you dead, so that therefore you support killing every Muslim in the Middle East and deporting every Muslim in America. So if there's a good Muslim out there, like the one that just saved Christmas in Michigan, or the one that just saved Jewish lives in Australia, they can't let you know about that, because then you might sit back and say, oh, maybe Muslims aren't bad. Maybe the Islamic world doesn't want me dead. Maybe 1.6 billion Muslims is not a good group of people to try to decide to start a war with and to start hate with. And it's the only people that want it have a loyalty in the Middle East. The only people that want it have a religion based in the Middle East. And now they're bringing it all here, folks. They're bringing it all here. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. There was an event in Texas where they're bringing out pigs and pig blood. And they went to a Muslim cemetery in Australia and started throwing dead pigs and pork at it. This is the Western world. This is supposed to be the Christian world. And now you're going to watch the West, you're going to watch Europe, you're going to watch Australia, you're going to watch America fall to the same death and destruction of the Middle East. And you'll get blamed for it, too. You'll get blamed for it. And you already are, by the way, actually. You already are. Here's an example. Dr. Naomi Wolf. Every single one of you national U.S. influencers who invoked anti-Semitic lies and nonsense to get clicks or to please Qatar has blood all over your hands today. So it's your fault. See? It's your fault. See how that goes? So now it's your fault. So everything is your fault, Christian. It's disgusting. I don't think we properly appreciate just how deep and generational this hatred and this war is in the Middle East, folks. It's longer than the United States of America has ever existed, and it will destroy us. It will engulf us, and it will destroy us. It's already happening. And now you're not even allowed to criticize Israel. And then if you do, you get blamed, and you're told you have blood on your hands. Not the people that fund the wars, not the people that provoke the hatred. No, you, the innocent American Christian that wants nothing to do with it. It's your fault. So more blood and treasure for the Middle East, something you should have nothing to do with. So now Trump's anti-Semitism czar, Rabbi Yehuda Kaplan, he's being brought in now to censor the internet and to censor anything they deem as anti-Semitism off the internet. Well, what happened to free speech? Yeah, well, the right is now against free speech because it's more important to support more war. So the American right now supports war over free speech. So now they're going to be censoring the internet in case you stand against more wars in the Middle East. They're going to censor you off the internet and say that it's anti-Semitic to be against war.
The president is sending a very strong message. Think about it. Ironically, I get off a plane. I am the president's representative, and I am walking off with a yarmulke, and I have kosher food, and embassies will have kosher food. It is a game changer. The appointment is a game changer, and it's not about history. It's about education. And how do we educate? Indonesia has 350 million Muslims living in the country. How do we change their textbooks? How do we hold the people in Gaza accountable that if America is paying for UN textbooks and supposedly the changes are made, why are those textbooks not being used and why are they using their old textbooks?
Make the people in Gaza pay. They're all dead. I mean, this is unreal. We have to change the textbooks. We have to change the history books. We have to kill the people that aren't dead enough.
We have to teach people it's not okay to educate your kids to be a martyr. Okay? And we have to hold those countries accountable. How do we...
Yeah, just send the Americans. Send the whites in to be the martyrs.
Battle anti-Semitism on the internet? How are we doing better on algorithms? What companies can we work with? We are going to have a whole division within the office of the Special Envoy to combat anti-Semitism that is going to work on technology and working with the greatest leaders in technology, many of whom are Jewish and have offered their assistance. The office is going to be revamped entirely to be one of the highest profile offices in the State Department because that's what the secretary wants and that's what the president wants. So we are going to have a very, very strong mandate on education, on protecting people, and how are we able to make a huge difference in combating what goes on.
So let's translate that. Zionists are going to control the education system. Zionists are going to control the history textbooks and the history lessons and the religious texts and the religious lessons. And they're going to now censor the internet to make sure that anything that doesn't support anything Israel does in the Middle East is now censored off the internet. And of course, all of this is derived off of false flags. All of this is derived off of false flags, decades-old wars, centuries-old wars that again, the American people should have nothing to do with. But now you're in it, folks. Now you're in the Middle East. And here's my concern. I'm afraid it's too late. I'm afraid that this is what the Trump election was all about. And now it's too late. I feel like this was what the Trump administration was all about. And that's why you're going to start to see this emerge in 2026. And people on the right, or maybe better described as free speech advocates, are going to have to sit back and they're going to have to think about this. Because here's what's going to happen, folks. It's very clear now that the entire purpose of this administration is to get Israel everything at once. There might be some things that benefit America in the process, but overall, that's what this administration is all about. But I look at this from a free speech angle, and I clearly see what's about to happen now, and this administration is going to do it. They're going to bring in social media speech guidelines, and you're not going to be allowed to criticize Israel. Now, the dangers of that, just in the situation with Israel, are obviously, we can understand that. But at a larger angle, it just, now what? So now when does the line get drawn? Can I criticize the U.S. government? Can I criticize Russia's government? Can I criticize Mexico's government? Can I criticize Ukraine's government? Can I criticize the EU? Well, they can go anywhere they want from there. So, this country's starting a war. You're not allowed to criticize it. And they'll say it's anti-this or anti-that or bigoted this or racist this or homophobe that. It's all woke left stuff, just rebranded on the right, using anti-Semitism as the platform to now start internet censorship all over again. So now people on the right are going to look at this and they're going to say, I support free speech. This administration is about to end free speech on the internet. I'm now going to stand with the left. That's what's going to happen. And it's true, by the way. This administration is going to censor free speech. They're signaling it everywhere. They want to make, quote unquote, anti-Semitic speech illegal. They've already passed laws. They've already proposed new legislation. They've already said it. This is the same as the disinformation czar. Remember, we all complained because Biden had a disinformation czar. Well, we got a disinformation rabbi. It's the same thing. It's all against free speech. It's all anti-First Amendment activity. So now this administration is the anti-First Amendment administration, and it's all to protect the war for Israel. That's it. That's all it's about. It's not about Jews. It's not about anti-Semitism. They couldn't care less. No, it's all about the military-industrial complex, and it's all about Israel securing the land in the Middle East so that they can all get rich. That's all it is. That's all it is, folks. They want to take the vacation property in the Middle East from the Palestinians. They want to take the land so that they can build a canal and make trillions of dollars off of trade. And they want to censor the internet so that you can't criticize any of it, and they can continue the military-industrial complex, which is worth tens of billions of dollars every single year and hundreds of billions of dollars overall. That's what it's all about. And they're going to censor the internet so that they can continue to do it, because the number one issue and the number one thing that most Americans are seeing now is the military-industrial complex, how a foreign country controls our Congress and our foreign policy, and how Americans and America has been hollowed out and sold off, all for the military-industrial complex, foreign and special interests. And now this administration might be the worst of them. Yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow. That's a hard pill to swallow. But that's the truth. That's the truth.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
So now we go to the founder of Stop Anti-Semitism. So if you don't think that what I'm telling you is true, go to the founder of Stop Anti-Semitism and let her tell you how they're going to censor the internet and take away your right to free speech to protect and benefit Israel and the military-industrial complex.
I would now like to welcome to the stage Leora Rez, founder and executive director of Stop Anti-Semitism, a watchdog organization that publicly exposes anti-Semitic behavior, creating consequences for those who espouse bigotry toward the Jewish people. Leora?
Tonight, I speak not just about a problem, but an actual fight. A fight that the Jewish community did not choose, but one that we are now fully engaged in, confronting the global explosion of Jew hatred. unleashed since the attacks of 10/7. Stop Anti-Semitism was built for this. For years, we exposed hate, pressured institutions, and delivered consequences. But after 10/7, the scale of threat and the urgency of our mission changed dramatically overnight. Since that day, we have featured more than 1,000 anti-Semites on our platforms. 1,000. Not theorized about them, not quietly documented them, feature them publicly, clearly, and with evidence. The results speak for themselves. Approximately 400 of these Jew haters have faced real consequences, including firings, suspensions, and expulsions. More than 300 of them remain in an active investigatory state across universities, corporations, DEI departments, unions, hospitals, nonprofits, and yes, unfortunately, federal government agencies. And yes, 5 arrests to date tied directly to threats and violence of anti-Semitic conduct we helped expose. This is what accountability looks like. This is what action looks like. This is what pushing back hard looks like against the tidal wave of hate that has consumed the United States and global population. From our founding, Stop Anti-Semitism has operated on one guiding belief. Anti-Semitism thrives when there are no consequences. So we created consequences, a lot of them. We created visibility. We turned the spotlight towards those who targeted on our community, making silence impossible. On campuses where Jewish students were hunted through libraries, where professors glorified Hamas and Hezbollah terrorists, where mobs shut down our buildings and administrators hid under desks, we stepped in. We documented the offenders. We worked with attorneys, lawmakers, and victim families, and we ensured the message was not mistakable. If you target Jewish students, your actions will not disappear into the darkness. We will shine a light on you that, thanks to Google and SEO, will follow you for the rest of your life. When you look for a job, when you look for a spouse, when you look for a nanny, when you look for anything, our work will always be documented. Again, thanks to Google and SEO. In corporations where DEI leaders smeared Israel, excused Hamas, we pressured CEOs. Some resigned, many were terminated, but policies were changed, thankfully, from governmental to art institutions. Online, where anonymous accounts spread violent threats, we traced patterns, elevated evidence, and worked with authorities, leading to arrests from Florida, South Carolina, New York, California, and Texas. And we're not slowing down, sadly. Today, Stop Anti-Semitism, I'm proud to say, runs one of the most robust anti-Semitic enforcement operations in the United States, monitoring campuses, digital networks, activist groups, and public officials, documenting incidents in real time and mobilizing millions of people, of allies that are quietly by our side. But the fight is bigger than the exposure, and it's about securing a future where Jewish students can walk across a quad without being screamed at, a future where employers understand that anti-Semitism is not activism, it's bigotry, and it will cause you to lose your job. A future where fact, not propaganda, shapes policy. A future where global institutions, from Google to ChatGPT, from governments to universities to media, finally treats Jew hatred with the serious of other minority-targeted hate. To get there, we need 3 things: action, real action, as I listed, accountability, relentless vigilance, because anti-Semitism does not take breaks. It doesn't wait for elections. It doesn't disappear because we are exhausted and tired. And when I tell you myself and my team are exhausted and tired, that's the least of it. Stop Anti-Semitism has never been more essential, more strategic, or more effective than it is now. But we cannot do this alone. The demand, the volume of tips, the number of investigations, sadly, it continues to grow instead of decrease. If we want a safer future for the Jewish people, this is the moment to stand together and act. We have to push harder to make it clear that Jewish safety is a non-negotiable. Tonight, I'm asking you to always be in the fight with us, not just in spirit, but in true action. Participate in calls to action. Write letters to your governmental officials. Speak to the teachers and the college administrators that are making, if it's not your friends and kids, it's making other community members feel unsafe. When we act, lives change. And anti-Semites learn, sometimes for the very first time in their lives and history, that targeting Jews will come at a price. And together we can ensure that Jew hatred never goes unanswered again. As a former refugee from the USSR, I say this with all of my heart. God bless the United States. God bless Israel, and Am Israel Chai. Thank you so much.
Yeah, God bless America, and then take away our right to free speech. Gotcha. Now, let me just ask you a very simple question. Have you ever heard any similar attitude or sentiment expressed towards stopping white hatred? No. Have you ever seen giant conferences, well-funded, well-organized, podiums, everything? Have you ever seen any of that dedicated to stopping Christian hatred or white Christian hatred or Muslim hatred, God forbid? No. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. Now, you can ask, well, why is that? You can answer that question yourself. Why is it that only one group gets this massive, overwhelming protection mechanism and effort and no other group does? You can answer that question for yourself. But I would say this, and this is really where I think we're going to start to see the rubber meeting the road relatively soon. But perhaps before I say that, here's the problem. Here's where this is a direct attack on free speech. And anybody that's engaged in this free speech knows exactly what I'm talking about. This isn't about anti-Semitism. This is all about stopping criticism of Israel. And I know that because I'm the one that they're targeting. And I'm not the only one. I might not even be the top one, but I'm the one that they're targeting. If I criticize Netanyahu, I'm called an anti-Semite. If I criticize Israel, I'm called an anti-Semite. Of course, I'm not an anti-Semite. And there is nothing anti-Semitic about criticizing Netanyahu. And there is nothing anti-Semitic about criticizing Israel's government. Nothing at all. But that's what they use to engage in the censorship so that Israel is beyond questioning, so that they can do whatever the hell they want in the Middle East. And then you get into the larger issue, which is, well, what is the purpose of Israel? What purpose is Israel really serving? Why can't I criticize it? Why are they trying to censor the internet for people who talk about it and who don't carry the party line and who don't carry water for the propaganda and the regime and the state and the government and the foreign policy? Why is it that you are being targeted for censorship? But anybody who goes through the process knows as soon as you're critical of Netanyahu or Israel, they call you an anti-Semite, and now they say they want to censor you. Of course, it goes beyond that. They want to kill you. They want to kill you. They want you dead. But that's where all this is going. So what happens next? What happens when Muslims start acting like that? What happens when Christians start acting like that? Imagine that. Imagine if everybody started behaving like the Zionists right now. What do you think would happen if every country started behaving like Israel? If every country had the same logic that Israel had? If every religious group had the same logic that the Zionist Jews have? What do you think would happen? Well, we'd be in World War III. Nukes would be flying left and right. There'd be religious killings nonstop. So thank God not everybody behaves like the Netanyahu regime. Thank God everybody doesn't behave like the bloodthirsty Zionists like Randy Fine and Mark Levin, because the whole world would be dead. The whole world would be drenched in blood if we all behaved like that. You'd be nuking everybody left and right if everybody thought like Israel did. Oh, it's in their self-defense. But I'm afraid that this is what's coming next. Eventually, these different religious groups These different identity groups are going to say, hold on a second. How come you get to behave like that, but nobody else does? How come you get to censor free speech against your people, but I don't get to censor free speech against my people? How come you get to say it's okay to kill anybody that's against you, but I can't say it's okay to kill anybody that's against me? How come you're allowed to have a religious ethno-state, the most nationalistic religious ethno-state on the planet, but I'm not? How come I'm called a racist or a bigot or an extremist if I want the same thing for my country that you support in your country, that you support in Israel? How come what's good for the goose is not good for the gander? Because if logic can't be applied universally, it's not logic, it's propaganda. Because if policy can't be applied universally, it's not policy, it's propaganda. So eventually this is where it's going to hit. But you go back to the purpose of it all. They're turning Charlie Kirk's death into pro-Israel propaganda now.
He was murdered 3 months ago. If you go on the internet, and if frankly it is leapt beyond the internet now into real life, and you talk to many seemingly sane people, they do not believe that the 22-year-old named Tyler Robinson that has been arrested and charged with his murder is the actual murderer.
Who did they think? Yeah.
They believe any number of theories. They believe that Erica Kirk was his Mossad handler and that he was killed by a foreign government. They believed that she was tracked by Egyptian planes. They believe that the rings on her hand are signs of Illuminati. The theories themselves are absurd. What matters is that, because she speaks about this in the interview, the brain rot that social media is allowing to spread, the way that it is detaching us from humanity, from our ability to talk to one another and our ability to discern the truth from just out and out lies, is something that is incredibly important as a theme, I think.
That's what
Yeah. This is the $150 million woman who can't get 1,000 people to watch a live stream. This is the $150 woman that has become the face of the new Paramount Zionist takeover, who's also trying to take over Warner Brothers right now, taking over Paramount, taking over TikTok. Larry Ellison, the #1 donor to the IDF. This is Bari Weiss, who, by the way, was one of the most COVID panicans you've ever seen. She was one of the most prescribed to the COVID panic that anybody's ever seen. And now she's going to go on here and tell you what a conspiracy theory is and isn't. And she's going to go on here to tell you, oh my gosh, criticism of Israel is just the worst thing on the internet. We can't allow any of it. I don't think I've ever seen more of an obvious foreign propaganda campaign in my life. And I'm just so, in a way, I guess, depressed, but not really depressed. I'm just sad. I'm just stricken with this betrayal that Trump is the worst. He's the worst of it. He's the worst of it. And I can't believe it. It's never been more obvious, this propaganda campaign. It's never been more obvious. And again, it's like, is it really even about Israel? It's about the military-industrial complex. It's about some new world order plan. So, and Bari Weiss is going to tell me, nope. Bari Weiss is going to tell me none of that's going on. She's the expert. She wears 10 masks during COVID. How many vaccines did Bari Weiss get? Bari Weiss can't even get 1,000 people in a live stream. Gets a $150 million contract to work for top IDF donor Larry Ellison, who's about to control all of your data and plug it all into the AI surveillance system. And if you say anything negative about Israel, then they're going to throw you in jail. And it's all going to be AI-oriented. It's like, this is all happening right in front of your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. They're not hiding it. It's all happening. They're telling you this is happening. They're bragging about it. They're justifying it. They're glorifying it. And the big bait and switch is that they're the victims and the good guys. It's crazy. So we go to the senator from Oklahoma. He wants to let you know how he celebrates Christmas.
Hey, all. We're at the Oklahoma City at the Hanukkah Festival here. We just lit the candle on it. Got a chance to be able to do that. The festival's still ongoing. It's pretty incredible. Gathering here, lots of folks that are gathered around. So I want to just get a chance to say Happy Hanukkah to everybody, but also say that we are praying for the people of Australia. We woke up this morning to the absolutely terrible news of what happened at Bondi Beach there in Sydney. We joined people from all over the world praying that we want those folks obviously recover. We want justice to be done, but we also want to be able to speak out clearly against anti-Semitism around the world. So for all of you that are standing with all of us, let's speak out for our Jewish friends and neighbors. Let's continue to be able to speak out against anti-Semitism in every single form and enjoy this festival of light that is happening during this season. There was light.
Yeah, okay. Have you done any Christmas festivities this year? I went to a couple of the Christmas scenes here in Austin, Texas. There's a couple different light displays, things that they do here every year for Christmas. And I went to two of them this weekend, and both of them did have a Hanukkah section. It's fine with me. But they had a Hanukkah section in the Christmas lights ceremony, the Christmas lights thing. They had a Hanukkah section at both of them. And they were playing Hanukkah music. I'm not familiar with it, but you can tell it's not Christmas music, that it's Hanukkah music. And I have no problem with that. Didn't offend me one bit. In fact, at the Christmas light ceremony I went to last week, it was a nice Jewish family, a bunch of kids. They took pictures at it. It looked like they had a great time. Kids were smiling and laughing. So that's wonderful. Good for them. I had no problem with it. But I'd never seen that before. And I've been going to these Christmas light ceremonies in Austin since I've moved here. So almost, I guess it's like I've been to 9 of them now. 9 years I've been going to them. I've never seen that before. So that's the first thing. Okay. But I noticed there was nothing for the Muslims. I noticed that there was nothing for the Muslims. And Austin actually has a very large Muslim population, by the way. And I saw multiple Muslims at the Christmas light ceremony last night. And, they wear the garb here. The women wear the headdress here. And so it's obvious when you see them, a group of Muslims, and they were all taking pictures with Santa and taking pictures with the Christmas stuff. It's all just so obnoxious. And now it's just like Christians are being told that, no, once again, Christians are being told, just like the time of Jesus, you're told that you are a slave. There is somebody superior to you. There is a God's chosen people. They're more important than you. And you, the Christian, and your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, you're actually beholden to the Jews. You're slave to the Jews, and you need to respond accordingly. This isn't going to go well. This isn't going to go well. In fact, they're going to create radical Christians is what they're going to do. You're already seeing it. They're already complaining about it. That's what this whole thing is about. They're complaining about radical Christians now that don't want to be beholden to Israel, that don't want to pay for the death and the slaughter of 100,000 people that Israel has engaged in the last 3 years. They don't want to pay for Israel bombing 7 different countries in the last 2 years. In the year 2025, Israel bombed 7 countries, ladies and gentlemen. And it is very unchristian, actually, to have done that. It is very non-Christian to kill innocent men and women and children. Israel has been doing that, and Christians have to pay for it, and they have to support it. And they're told if they don't want to or they speak out against it, that they're anti-Semites and they must be censored and they're the enemy and really they need to be killed. What do you think this is going to do? Yeah, you're going to create radical Christians now. That's what you're going to see. Just like you created radical Muslims, now you're going to have radical Christians. And that's what they're complaining about. That's what they're so afraid of. That's why they're trying to clamp down on free speech. So I'm just like, well, what is this really about? Is this really about Israel? Is this really about just a foreign land? What is this really about? It doesn't make any sense. Why does America have to sacrifice its life? Why does America have to be martyred at the altar of Israel? Why? Or Ukraine, for that matter, or anywhere. When does Christian nationalism in America rise? That's what they're afraid of. Because they know, folks, they know once America takes its sovereignty back, once America reclaims its independence, if there is ever a rise of Christian nationalism in America, then all support for Israel will be pulled. And what happens to Israel then? How many lives did America save when it intervened and stopped Iran from bombing Israel? How many lives were saved? Legitimate, 1 million? It's a legit question. How many Israeli lives were saved by the United States of America intervening when Israel started getting bombed by Iran? And where's our thank you, by the way? Where's the thank you for white Christians that stopped the Holocaust? No, we're somehow in debt. Where's the gratitude for America saving Israel from maybe total destruction at the hands of Iran this year? Where's our thank you? No, we are in debt. No, here's the deal. Americans are sick of being a martyr for foreign policy. Americans are sick of being martyred and having our country martyred for foreign countries and foreigners and foreign policy. And now we don't even get thanked for it. We don't even get the basic gratitude of it. We're told we're in debt. Here comes America, saves Israel's ass again, and we're told we're in debt and we owe them something, so we need to censor free speech. So what do you think is going to happen? You're going to have a rise of Christian nationalism. First, what you're going to happen is you're going to have the left. The left is going to take over. They're going to be vehemently anti-Israel, and they will take over politically for 4 years. And then you're going to have a rise of Christian nationalism, which will take over in the 2030s and will become a Christian nationalist-centric, policy-centric country. That's what you're going to see. That is what I see happening in American politics the next 8 years. The left is going to take over in a vehemently anti-Israel campaign, and that's going to create a Christian nationalist right-wing movement that will then rise in response to the radical left and will probably take over for 4 to 8 years. And then you might actually see policy that benefits America. Then you might actually see the rise of American infrastructure and American manufacturing and production and identity. The problem is by the 2030s, we're going to be in the AI surveillance grid and everything is going to be run by robotics. So I don't even know what there's going to be left to claim. But that's going to be the political process that we go through. But we don't get thanks in Ukraine either. Now, this is from Ukraine. Now, I have to say, I wonder the legitimacy of this. But apparently, Ukrainian soldiers have American flags on their fatigues, and they're ripping the American flags off. I think this is more likely propaganda, but yet these videos are going all over here. The Ukrainians are now, it's the same thing. It's like, we do everything for Israel, and they just, then we have to be their slaves. We do everything for Ukraine. It's not enough. I'm just sick of it all. America only. I am pro-isolationist. Screw the rest of the world. America only.
Ну що, пацани, дождались ми підтримки, так? Дождались. Ну що, пацани?
Okay. First of all, why do you have American patches on a Ukraine military uniform anyway? So that makes me think the whole thing is propaganda. But second of all, wow, you're ripping the American flag off of your Ukraine army uniform. Okay, so what? So we just owe you money, we just owe you weapons, and now you're going to insult us after everything we've done. You're just going to insult us and rip our flag off and say screw you. Okay, so I hope we never support you ever again. I hope you never get another dime from us. I'm sick of it, man. I'm sick of Americans being tread on all the time. That's all we get in America. It's like, what happened to don't tread on me? What happened to don't tread on me? Now we get tread on all the time. It's time to reclaim our American identity. Vladimir Putin with a message for America. He's put out a couple of these, by the way. I can't remember if this is translated or not. Let's see. I want ordinary here. Let me do this. I'll read here. Vladimir Putin's message to the West. I want ordinary citizens of Western countries to hear me too. You are currently being persistently persuaded that all your difficulties are the result of some hostile actions by Russia, that you must pay for the fight against the mythical Russian threat out of your own pockets. All of this is a lie. The truth is that the current problems faced by millions of people in the West are the result of years of actions by the ruling elites of their countries. Their mistakes, short-sightedness, and ambition. The elites are not thinking about how to improve the lives of their citizens in their Western countries. They are obsessed with their own selfish interests and super profits. Is anything he says there inaccurate? Is anything he says there wrong? No, it's 100% right. It's 100% right. Vladimir Putin is now delivering more truth to the American people than Donald Trump. When was the last time you heard Trump say anything like that? Of course, Trump can't say anything like that anymore because he's a part of it now. If Trump came out and said anything like that, we'd all look at him and be like, dude, you are that now. You are literally that now. Did you ever hear about this one? This is out of left field. The CIA once hauled a plutonium-powered portable nuclear device up a Himalayan peak to spy on China. A blizzard hit, and they left it behind. And now it's in a glacier, frozen, melting now, that is putting plutonium into a river system that's water supports almost 500 million people in China. That's crazy. That was a wild story. By the way, they claimed that Tyler Robinson was wearing a trans flag. They claimed Tyler Robinson was wearing a trans flag tie in court. Here's the image you may have seen. So they say, oh, Tyler Robinson, he's wearing a trans flag tie. See, that proves it. Ladies and gentlemen, it appears Tyler Robinson was actually wearing a Trump tie. Now, I mean, folks, that's hard to deny that is a Trump tie. Now, it might, it's tough to say for sure. Obviously, it's extremely similar looking, if not the exact same looking. But you could say that there's more evidence that Tyler Robinson is wearing a Trump tie than evidence that it's a trans tie. Tyler Robinson wearing a Trump tie in court? What do you think, guys? That's what it looks like to me. Doesn't look like a trans tie. It looks like a Trump tie. Whoa. Things just get weirder. Check this out. The latest from O'Keefe Media Group. They got one of the vice presidents of Atlantic, a former vice president of Atlantic and Def Jam Records, who talked about Diddy's blacklisting and blackmail on undercover video. Listen to this.
Diddy at his core is a bad guy. Did work with him. He's a fucking asshole. And I knew that from the get-go. He had more to do than just whether you got a record deal or not. Like he could blacklist you, especially after you went to one of his parties and it seemed fun and there were girls and drugs and da-da-da-da. But now he's got you on video doing weird shit.
So what you just saw was...
So this is now like the fifth person that has knowledge, intimate knowledge of this stuff, who's come out and said virtually the same thing. That the circumstantial evidence laid out in court suggests the exact same thing, but Maureen Comey decided not to go there. Maureen Comey spiked the case for Diddy and got him on a prostitution bust. Oh, okay. No, this is the fifth person now intimately involved with the record companies that's come out and said he would have these parties, get you on camera doing weird stuff, and then he owned you. And we're not going to get anything on that. In fact, Diddy might even get pardoned. That's going to be fun. Can't wait for Trump to pardon Diddy. That's going to be a great day. There'll probably be a big celebration at the White House for that. All right, insurance scams. Here's a doctor explaining what he calls an insurance scam that he just recently discovered.
Guys, cash is king. So anytime you get any imaging ordered by a provider, whether that's an ultrasound, echocardiogram, MRI, CAT scan, etc., always try to determine the cash pay of what that would cost prior to using insurance. It's often much, much cheaper. Here's an example script that I provide for patients prior to doing for that. So when you call up an imaging center, these are 4 questions that you're going to ask. 1, what is your cash or self-pay price for blank? Number 2, does that price include the radiologist's interpretation and report? Number 3, are there any additional facility or technical fees I should know about? And number 4, do you offer any discounts for paying up front? So when you do this, always do this before opting to use insurance. Once insurance is billed, you can't go back and, in hindsight and pay cash. I recently had a patient who, had got an echocardiogram done, opted to go through insurance and ended up costing about $2,000. Had they decided to use cash pay, it probably would have been $200 to $300. So this may save a few bucks.
Wait till we discover the scam that is insurance. All of these scams. This is what I wish this administration was addressing, is getting rid of all the scams. Instead, the administration has decided to just turn into a giant scam. It's like we wanted the Trump administration to end the scams, and then the Trump administration turned out to be the biggest scam of all. The entire purpose of insurance was to make it affordable and to make it cheaper. And the truth is, insurance has only made it more expensive, astronomically expensive. Eventually, this is going to be dealt with. Eventually, we're going to right this wrong. I don't know what that's going to look like. But these doctors are going to catch on fast. Most doctors are good people. They've been indoctrinated like the rest of us. Eventually, they're going to catch on to the insurance scam, and they're going to start seeing it and calling it out. And they're going to say, why does this same thing cost $200 if you pay out of pocket, but $2,000 if you go through the insurance company? Because it's a scam. Just like college, just like education, just like the student loans. It's another giant scam. Truthfully, you know what we need? I'm going to play this now. We're going to get into the college loan scam. I'm going to tell you right now what America needs. And this is a long shot, if not a no shot. But here's the truth. The United States of America, the American people in 2026 should have a tax revolt. We need a tax rebellion in this country. We need to cut off the federal government. Every American should refuse to pay taxes in the year 2026. Every American should refuse to file with the IRS. Don't file. Don't pay your taxes. Don't file. Here we go. I'm not giving any legal advice. I'm not giving any legal advice. I'm not giving any financial advice. So, all right. But that's what America needs. We need to cut off this corrupt government. It needs to be cut off. We have to stop funding it. We started a revolution in this country for a 2% tax. We now pay 30% tax. We need a tax revolt in this country. And if the universities want to sit here and just run off of foreign money and foreign students, then fine, let them. The Americans should boycott the entire college system. We should boycott it. We should be boycotting these institutions that have screwed us and sent us into debt and turned into nothing but a scam. Might be a little harder with insurance, but we should be boycotting American universities, and we should be boycotting the federal government. We should have a tax revolt. No American should pay federal taxes. We should just stop. And the companies needed to get in on this too. But this is why they want to make everything a digital currency, because they have to be involved in every transaction. If you still have the ability to work outside of the parameters and the purview of the U.S. government, then you can still pay an employee in cash. And you can avoid the government getting involved. And you can say, I don't know. I don't have any record of such a payment. And what are they going to do? That's why they want the digital currency. That's why they're bringing us into the central bank digital currency. And Trump will probably do it. He'll probably scam you on that too. We need a tax revolt. We need an education university revolt. It's time for us to boycott these institutions that have scammed us, folks. They've scammed us. The federal government has scammed you. The universities have scammed you. Here's a lady talking about her student loans, and this is not an uncommon story. We play these videos all the time. Listen to what happened. Listen to her nightmare.
I'm just going to put this out in the TikTok world. I'm a little bit frustrated. This is regarding student loans. If you don't give a crap about student loans, you can just be on your way. I have been paying on my student loans since 2008. I have never been delinquent. I have never missed a payment, and I've always made the payment that is requested, and even I've made additional payments or sometimes more than my payment. I have been in the forgiveness plan since 2008. Now, when I graduated college with my degree in education, I left with a little under $28,000 in student loans. I, to date, have paid $37,000 back to my student loans since 2008, but I still owe like 58,000. The math isn't mathing. I'm not great at math, but the math isn't mathing there. So I've actually paid off my student loans. I was rolled over into the SAVE plan. And if you aren't aware, SAVE plan currently is in litigation and it has been in forbearance, which means that you do not have to make any payments and there's no interest accruing. However, our lovely government has now decided that starting August 1st.
By the way, just to give a little context here, the only reason they started this program is because the people that had the student loans couldn't pay them. So it's like kind of like a delay thing. It's like, hey, I can't pay the student loans, so you file for this program and they can delay them. A lot of people in their 20s have to do that. I had to do that for a couple of years in my 20s because I couldn't afford it. And maybe I don't know. I mean, I can bring up my story with student loans. It's very similar to hers, I will say. My situation is probably worse, but it's very similar to hers. So do you understand the program she's talking about? Because so many people cannot afford their monthly payments, they offer you this delay mechanism. But just like the student loans, it's another trap. It's another scam.
Less than 30 days notice, interest is going to start accruing on your student loans. So yes, think about that. Your loan is in forbearance. It's in the middle of litigation lawsuits. You aren't required to make payments, but now interest is going to accrue, which means it's just basically going to drive up your balance. Can you make payments towards just the interest? Yes, of course you can. But I've been seeing a lot on TikTok. People are like, you need to find a way to get out of the SAVE plan. Okay, let's go see. I applied back in January and was told I wasn't eligible. They would then consider me for some other type of plan. Okay, well, here it is July 10th, and I contacted my servicer, Advantage, and they said they don't know. They directed me back to the studentaid.gov, and because it's been more than 6 months, they told me to submit an application.
And again, if you've been through the process, all of this is sounding very familiar. This is very common when you go through this process.
Working on my said application, it now tells me my repayment plan option. Yes, my payments are going to double, and I'm looking at about $900 or so a month, I guess. It's an estimate. The problem I have with this is, as of today, in the SAVE plan, my forgiveness is now January of 2028. Prior to the litigation and everything going in forbearance, my forgiveness was January of 2027. I still make payments, even though I'm not required, and those payments do not count towards my payoff. They're just payments. If I opt, according to the studentaid.gov,
So let me just explain this. She doesn't explain it the best. You can pay off your loan. You're paying down your loan if you choose to, but you can't get rid of the interest. So you're still paying full interest even if you try to pay off your loan.
I opt to go into the only payment plan I am given, my student loan forgiveness starts over. According to this, it says I will now start again for 25 years. So 300 months, which means my forgiveness now would take effect of May of 2032. Make this make sense. Make this make sense to me. Like,
here, I'll make sense of it. The whole thing was a scam. It's all usury, but they know they have to do this because nobody can pay off their student loans. So basically there's two options right here from the loan, from the people that provide the loans, wherever the money is coming from. They have two options. Either one, you can't pay the loan. And so they have to deal with it from that aspect. Now, they don't want to deal with that because then they're not getting paid. So their second option is delay it as long as possible and hope someday you can start paying it off. And yes, we're going to add interest on that to make it more expensive. So they can't just close it because they need your money. They want your money. So they delay it. And then they add interest. And they act like they're the heroes for doing it.
I am almost there. So do I just sit in the save plan and pay the interest until the government, who has already said they're getting rid of the save plan, and then I get forced into something else? But then I lose my forgiveness? Like, this administration is really, I'm sorry, but they don't want you to have an education. They don't want to help you get out of this. Like, I've been paying on my student loan since 2008. I have a 20-year forgiveness, and I am almost there. And now they're trying to tell me if I get out of the save plan, I start over. Like, if there's anybody out there in the world of student loans that's feeling this frustration, anger, like anybody need a degree in early childhood education, I will Photoshop my name off and put you on there and you can gladly have it. If you're in the student loan world, if you're a student loan lawyer, anything, any help, please. Like, none of this makes sense. I have no problem making my payments, but it's like I've done my time. I have paid off my student loans that I took out, but the interest is killing me. Make this make sense.
It's a scam. You got robbed. You got scammed. It's all a giant scam. The banks robbed you. They used the lie that you need a college degree to do it, and they used the interest rates to keep you poor. And when they knew they went too far and nobody could afford it, they created all these different plans to delay the process, but really it just made it more expensive. So there you go. There's your answer. It's a giant scam. And this is the big swing and miss from the administration. This is the big swing and miss, and nobody seems to get it. As the Trump administration is out here talking about foreign policy and foreign wars, and the Trump administration is out here talking about AI and tech dominance, and the Trump administration is talking about how great the economy is, most Americans are struggling and living paycheck to paycheck. Most. And it's this indentured servitude that has them depressed. It's this indentured servitude that they feel there is no freedom from. They feel they're trapped. There's no upward mobility in the professional world. There's no upward mobility in the financial world. There's no generational wealth left. They feel they'll never be able to accrue it if there was. They're struggling. They don't want to hear about a foreign country. They don't want to hear about a foreign war. They don't care about an AI chip. They know the economy's not the greatest of all time. It's the opposite. And where is the administration talking to these people? Where is the administration trying to address these people? Where is the policy push? Where is the focus on taking care of Americans? It's not there. They do ceremonious stuff every once in a while. They'll do a ceremonious thing and invite somebody to the White House, give them a trophy, give them a coin. They do ceremonious stuff to make it appear like they care. But no, the only force in policy here is foreign policy. The only force in policy here is trampling your free speech rights. The only force in policy here is making sure that the special interests and the foreign interests continue to get enriched in exactly what they want while the average American suffers. That's all this administration has turned into. By the way, this is just, I don't know how you explain this deal. This is crazy. So one of the Epstein photos that came out is Epstein and Bannon, okay? And they're in this hotel. All right. And Epstein and Bannon and their little documentary or whatever, everybody knows about that. It's become quite controversial. But you see this hotel room, all right? Now look at this. This is some girl that does, I mean, you know, you can see what she does based off of the photo provided here. She likes to take photos of her butt and, you know, her butt and her boobs and anything else she can. How is it that she seems to be in the exact same room that Epstein and Bannon are in? I mean, folks, the exact same. I'm sorry, but what is that? If there's an innocent explanation for that, I'd love to hear it. That's a wild one. All right, I've almost exhausted my news stack for the day. I do have some other leftovers. So we'll kill some time after we play this video. This will exhaust my stack for today. This is just hilarious. So, you know, there's been some controversy over the word retard lately, specifically calling Tim Walz retarded. So a gentleman here with Down syndrome wants to address this. He wants to address the use of the word retard and the issue he has.
Hey, please stop using that word. Our community isn't mad about the word itself. We're mad because you're comparing us to Tampon Tim. We try hard. We make good choices. We don't deserve that insult. So please stop.
That shit's
It's
hilarious.
disrespectful to us. Hey, please stop using that word. Our community isn't mad about the word itself. We're mad because you're comparing us to Tampon Tim. We try hard. We make good choices. We don't deserve that insult. So please stop.
That shit's
It's
hilarious.
disrespectful to us.
Wow, what a terrific audience. Doesn't that sound like that sounds like Kenny from South Park? Doesn't it? It sounds like it sounds like that's the guy that does the voiceovers. Wow. All right, here we go. Let's get into the leftover stack. And we'll go a little late tonight since we got started a little late. So we'll go a little past the normal closing time today. And let's just start to get into these leftovers. I'm going to start going through these leftovers I have on the desk. This is the World Jewish Congress, the president of the World Jewish Congress. By the way, how do I join the World White Congress or the World Christian Congress? Does that exist? I've never heard of it. Well, this is the World Jewish Congress. You don't think they're coming for censorship on social media, folks? Have you not heard enough today? Well, if you've not heard enough, here's a little more evidence for you from the World Jewish Congress.
We're in the fight of our lives, and this is how we will fight back. First, we must use social media because that's what young people follow. And I must tell them that you must tell them the truth. Israel must finally get serious about public relations. If Israel can't tell its amazing story to the world, then its enemies will, and they've done it now. We must expose every renegade teacher and their unions. We must expect moral courage from our political officials, not excuses. We must rebuild education around truth, not slogans and lies. We will have to reinvent how we teach the history of the Jewish people because it's not working. Too many young people have never heard of the Holocaust. The World Jewish Congress has produced some excellent films that explain what happened. We want to show them in classrooms everywhere in the United States. And any candidate running for a seat in this...
What about the Bolshevik revolution? What about the Holodomor? What about any of those?
...building, whether for Congress or Senate, whose platform includes anti-Semitism, we will target them as they target us. Accordingly, we will start a fund to help their opponents. We cannot passively sit by and let anti-Zionists determine our future. None of this will be easy. It will take time and effort from all of us. And Jews cannot fight this fight alone. Frankly, we shouldn't have to, because this is not a Jewish issue. It's a democratic issue. It's a moral issue. It's a human issue. Let us build a coalition so strong, so united, so determined that no extremist movement can fracture it. And above all, let us be bridge builders, unshakable, unapologetic, so that the next generation inherits a world defined not by hatred, but by humanity.
Yeah, like what you guys are doing in the Middle East and in the Gaza Strip. Yeah. Okay. Let's just continue here. I'm going to stay silent and play the videos. You judge for yourself.
I think that since October 7th, but really before then, there have been huge shifts in America on how people think about Jews and Israel. And I think that is especially true of young people. So we are now wrestling with a new, I think, generational divide here. And I think that's particularly true in that social media is now our source of media. And this, it used to be that the media you got in America was American media, and it was pretty mainstream. It generally didn't express extreme anti-Israel views. You had to go to a pretty weird bookstore to find global media and fringe media. But today, we have social media, which is a global medium, right? It is.
By the way, for a quick translation, meaning they now run the textbooks, they now run the history books, they now run the media, they now run the news media, they now run Hollywood. Now they want to run social media, and they want to control the message. It's called thought control, folks. It's called thought control. And all of these different groups who put Jewish in front of everything, by the way, they put it right there. I don't put that there. They all put it there. They are the ones calling for thought control, not Christians, not Muslims. Okay? They are the ones that put Jewish over all of their stuff and then have these conferences and call for speech control and thought control.
Its algorithms are shaped by billions of people worldwide who don't really love Jews. And so while in the 1990s, a young person probably wasn't going to find Al Jazeera or someone like Nick Fuentes, today those media outlets find them. They find them on their phones. It's also this increasingly post-literate media, less and less text, more and more videos. So you have TikTok just smashing our young people's brains all day long with video of carnage in Gaza. And this is why so many of us can't have a sane conversation with younger Jews, because anything that we try to say to them, they are hearing it through this wall of carnage. So I want to give data and
You mean the truth? You mean reality? You mean fact?
Information and facts and arguments, and they are just seeing in their minds carnage, and I sound obscene.
That's just what it is. It is carnage. What else is it if it's not carnage? It's 100,000 dead. It's 30,000 women and children. It's 7 countries in the year 2025 alone. If that's not carnage, I don't know what is. So is that love? Is that peace and love?
And, I think, unfortunately, the very smart, bet that we made on Holocaust education to serve as anti-Semitism education, in this new media environment, I think that is beginning to break down a little bit because, Holocaust education is absolutely essential.
So in other words, you aren't guilt-tripped by the Holocaust anymore. This whole thing was about guilt-tripping you because of the Holocaust, even though Americans fought and died to defeat the Nazis. Americans and Russians fought and died to defeat the Nazis. 80 million American white Christian men fought and died to defeat the Nazis. 80 million. Okay? So then in turn, they wanted to brainwash the lineage of these great men and women. They wanted to brainwash the next generation of men and women, not celebrate them, not thank them, not glorify them, not gratify them, brainwash them in the post-Holocaust world. She's saying all of it. She's admitting all of it. You are still under World War II brainwashing propaganda. They're admitting it. These are not my words. They're saying it to you.
But I think it may.
And we're just rejecting it now. We're just trying to move beyond it now. And they're saying, no, we have to bring you right back. We have to drag you back into World War II. We have to drag you right back into our brainwashing. We have to get total control of the media so that you feel a certain way. You're not allowed to think independently. You're not allowed to research and find news that you want or that you trust. We have to take it over and control you and get you back under the post-World War II brainwashing that you're fighting so hard.
Maybe confusing some of our young people about anti-Semitism because they learn about big, strong Nazis hurting weak, emaciated Jews. And they think, oh, anti-Semitism is like anti-Black racism, right? Powerful white people against powerless Black people.
So there it is. What did I tell you? Woke right. BLM for the right. I said it day one.
So when on TikTok all day long they see powerful Israelis hurting weak, skinny Palestinians, it's not surprising that they think, oh, I know, the lesson of the Holocaust is you fight Israel. You fight the big, powerful people hurting the weak people.
Whoa! That's a weird way to say that. That's a weird way to say that. But again, A lot of Jewish Americans, a lot of Israeli Jews have figured this out, folks. This is Jewish actor Mandy Patinski, and he's on the other side of this. He gets it.
I ask Jews all over the world to consider what this man, Benjamin Netanyahu, and his right-wing government is doing to the Jewish people all over the world. They are endangering the Jewish population all over the world. He is the most dangerous thing. To allow this to happen to children and civilians of all ages in Gaza, for whatever reason, is unconscionable and unthinkable. And I ask you Jews everywhere all over the world to spend some time alone and think, is this acceptable and sustainable? How could it be done to you and your ancestors, and you turn around and you do it to someone else?
I appreciate all of your honesty.
I ask Jews.
Everything he said is true. But here's what it is. When you get to the situation in Gaza, they're not mad that it's happening. They're not mad that 30,000 innocent women and children have died. They're not mad about that. They're mad that you saw it. They're mad that social media allowed you to see that. They're mad that you were able to actually watch it happen and then form your own geopolitical opinion based off of what's happening on the ground. That's what they're mad about. They don't care that the women and children are dead. They celebrate that. They're mad that you saw it. They're mad that you know it's going on, and they're mad that you don't like it. So that's why they're trying to censor it. And if you want to see how bad this has gotten, folks, if you want to see how bad this has gotten, let's watch a series of recent videos. This is how bad it's gotten. This is in Spain. They bring up Israel during a TV show, and it goes like this.
No sé si me estoy enterando. O sea, Vale, pero yo no puedo hacer. O sea, estamos hablando de este gesto.
So they bring up, what do you think about Netanyahu? And they're all giving him the middle finger. Okay, so the whole crew ends up here saying, F you, Netanyahu. And then watch what happens at the end of this video, folks. At the end of this video, you want to see how bad it is? Watch this.
Sí, Sí, ¿no?
Y se puede hacer con la izquierda
Con
también.
esta no me sale,
Claro.
pero era este, ¿no? Mira cómo te sale, mira cómo te sale.
Folks, they brought up a woman with cerebral palsy who's up there, you know, doing the thing, doing the cerebral palsy thing. They have struggle controlling their muscles and their body. And they bring her up there, and she's, you know, shaking, and she has cerebral palsy, and she's up there saying F Netanyahu with the middle finger. This is how bad And that's not because of Nick Fuentes. That's not because of Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens or Owen Schroyer or anybody else. That's all because of Netanyahu. That's who it's because. And that's what's so frustrating. It's like they want to sit here and they want to blame this American personality or this American for their free speech and all of this stuff. And they want to censor you, and they want to target you, and they want to destroy your life or kill you or have you killed. And you're just sitting there like, hey, I'm trying to help you. The only reason why this is happening is because of Benjamin Netanyahu. The only reason all of this negativity is happening towards your people is because of what Netanyahu is doing and what is going on in Palestine and the Gaza Strip. Not because of what I'm saying. And if it's the truth, if people are turned on by the truth, well, then that's an entirely different story then, isn't it? But you only hear one side. You only hear one side of the aisle. You don't hear from the other Jews that are warning that this current Zionist regime is going to be more destructive to the people of the Jewish faith and the people of the Jewish tribe, that this Zionist Netanyahu is doing more damage to us than anybody could have ever imagined.
Zionists are working day and night to merge the identity of Judaism and Zionism into one. They need Jews to be responsible for their action. or else they cannot use anti-Semitism as a shield. They'll always say it's about all the Jewish people, not Israel, to get us to pay. We see this in the streets of Europe and now also in America. It must be stopped. Zionists are working for their selfish agendas at the expense of Jewish people.
Now, even though that is clearly the logical conclusion to reach, even that is very surface level. Even that is very face value. It's like that's kind of the obvious conclusion that you reach here. It's like if you don't reach that conclusion, you're either dumb or you're sold out. You're either dumb or you're loyal to something else. You're not loyal to the truth. You're not loyal to America. You're loyal to something else if you haven't reached that same conclusion. But even that is the face value conclusion, folks. There's something other than that going on. There's something other. Netanyahu is a part of something else. Trump is a part of something else. And it's not about Zionism. It's not about Jews. That is part of the equation. That is part of the formula, but it's something much bigger than that. Netanyahu is part of something much bigger than that. This is a CIA. This is a Mossad. This is an intelligence community. This is creating Israel in the Middle East to run all of this through. It's a land grab. It's a resource grab. It's a money grab. It's beyond that. It's not about Jewish people. It's not about Jewish faith. It's not about religion at all. It's all about power and money. And they use the Jewish people as like the first wave, as like the first body shield is the Jewish people. And then the second one is, it's Zionists, which is closer to the truth. But when you get behind that, no, it's the same intelligence communities. It's the same intelligence communities. It's the same military industrial complex. It's the same tens of billions of dollars. So it's like you're close to the truth with the Zionists. Like that's true, but it's still not all the way. There's still one layer behind that. The demonic blood-sucking demons. All right, well, maybe we're exaggerating, but that's what it appears when you see them hopping around celebrating the death of children. And so then this happens. This is a young boy. This is a young kid who gets his shot on TV. Looks like this guy's like 11 or so. What do you think he uses his 5 seconds of fame to do on local news?
I see some snow and ice here. Did you get hit in that spot?
I hit my eye.
Man, are you okay?
Yeah, okay. It like hurt, but I'm still okay.
I'm glad to hear that.
Oh,
Hey,
I got one more thing to say.
yeah, one more thing to say.
Free Palestine.
Okay. You got an assist.
That's how bad it is, folks. That's why they need to censor the internet. Here's another one outside of a soccer game or a football game. This is in the UK. Watch what happens here.
I thought it was a good game. I thought in the beginning Israel was better, but now Mali is is destroying them. I think Israel is not bad. Israel is not bad, but I think Mali is going to destroy them today. No, I'm just talking about football. I'm just talking about football.
No politic here.
Okay? Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Folks, this is actually the perfect video to depict this entire thing right here. If you could pick a 30-second video to depict this entire debacle, this is it. Let me break this down. So here you have a young European lad. He's being interviewed about a soccer game. And it's Israel versus Mali is what it sounds like. Israel versus Mali. And he's responding to the question. He says, well, it looks like Israel started good, but I think Mali is going to win now. They're coming on strong, so I think Mali's going to win. So here comes this, I'm assuming is an Israeli. I don't know, but he's got an Israeli flag. He's obviously an Israeli fan. I don't know if he's Israeli or what, but he's got his Israeli flag scarf, and he interrupts the interview. This guy's talking about soccer. He's not talking about politics. He's not talking about religion. He's literally just talking about a soccer match. And here comes this guy with his Israeli flag, and he rubs it in his face, and he tells him what he can and cannot say. He had nothing to do with it. It had nothing to do with politics. It had nothing to do with religion. Here's just two guys talking soccer, and then here comes this obnoxious jerk with his Israel flag scarf, and he's going to take over the interview, and he's going to make it all about him. And so then what happens? The kid says, hey, I'm not talking about politics. I'm just talking about soccer. And he says, fine, F you, F you. And he goes, oh, okay, well then, F you, free Palestine. That is the perfect depiction of how this whole thing is played out, folks. That is the perfect depiction. And really, I'm a pretty strong case example, honestly. Israel's never been my issue. In the past, I've been pro-Netanyahu. I've mostly been neutral on the issue. It's never been my issue. It's never really been anything I've talked about. And now it's becoming an issue. And now it's becoming a major talking point. And now I see more so than ever all the foreign aid. I see now more so than ever all of the Israeli influence. And now it's undeniable. It's like, no, you're in my business. I'm not in Israel's business. You're in my business. I'm not the one that got into Israel's business. You guys came in here and got into my business. But okay, now you're telling me to shut up? Now you're saying F you? Okay, F you, free Palestine then. F you, cut all foreign aid then. How about that then? That's how this whole thing is played out. The average American just sitting here trying to mind their own business. And then, oh, here comes Israel. You have to support Israel. Well, I don't really talk much about Israel, but I don't really think that we should be funding it. And I don't really like that war. Oh, F you. Oh, really? F me? Okay, then F you. We're not the ones that got involved in your business. You're the ones that came over here like entitled jerks and got involved in our country's business. And now you think you own our country and you think you can control our speech and our thought. And so, yes, now we have turned against you. This is the perfect depiction of what Israel has done to the West. Here's the West minding its own business, doing its own thing, not even bothering with their issues. And then here comes the Israeli flag. Hey, you better support us. You better stop talking about us. And we're like, we're talking about soccer here, dude. Who are you? Where did you come from? Hey, F you. Oh, really? Free Palestine then. This is the perfect depiction in 30 minutes of how Israel has completely destroyed their reputation in the West. Watch it again.
I thought it was a good game. I thought in the beginning Israel was better, but now Mali is is destroying them, I think. Israel is not bad. Israel is not bad, but I think Mali is going to destroy them today. No, I'm just talking about football. I'm just talking about football. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Thank you.
All you had to do is leave him alone. He wasn't talking about you. He wasn't talking to you. He had nothing to do with you. He wasn't even talking about the thing that you thought he was talking about. All you had to do was leave him alone. All you had to do was leave him alone, but you just couldn't do it. You just couldn't let the white Christian be left alone. You just had to bring him into your war. You just had to bring him into your war. And then when you couldn't control him, you turned against him. It's the perfect depiction in 30 seconds of how Israel has destroyed itself in the West. It's the perfect depiction of how Israel has destroyed all of its good favor with young Westerners. It's the perfect depiction right here. If you're looking for 30 seconds, this is it. Young white Westerner minding his own business, wants nothing to do with the Israel political issue, but this Israeli just can't leave him alone, just can't let him go. Even after he says, hey, I'm not talking about that. Hey, I'm not here for that. Just no, F you. Okay, fine, then F you back. One more time. This is it. If you want 30 seconds to see how Israel has destroyed itself with the favor of young Westerners, young white Christian men, this is the perfect video. This is the perfect depiction. This is the perfect analogy of exactly how Israel has destroyed its good favor with young white Western Christian men.
I thought it was a good game. I thought in the beginning Israel was better, but now Mali is is destroying them, I think. Israel is not bad. Israel is not bad, but I think.
And look, he's even kind. It's even better. He's even nice. He's like, no, Israel's not bad. He's like, yeah, I don't have a problem with Israel. And it wasn't enough. See, oh, here comes the finger. This is so good. He's minding his own business. He's just minding his own business. He's talking about soccer.
Better, but no, Mali is
Now, two Israelis literally surround him. Literally, they surround him.
getting.
One of them shoves the Israeli flag in his face. They get up in his personal space. They surround him. They get in his personal space. They shove an Israel flag in his face.
Destroying them, I think. Israel is not bad. Israel.
And then he's nice. And then he says, "Oh, Israel's not bad. That's okay. Israel's not bad. I just think they're going to lose the soccer game. That's all. We're just talking football." So they surround him. They bully him. They shove the flag in his face. And he still tries to lower the temperature. And he just says, "Oh, yeah, Israel's not bad. Israel's not bad. I just don't think they're going to win today." It wasn't enough.
It's not bad, but I think.
So now, here comes the finger wagging. Oh, here comes the finger wagging. Here comes the entitlement. Here comes the I'm in charge around here. Here comes the you better listen to me. Here he comes. Here he comes to scold. The little midget, little pipsqueak. It's so perfect, too. It's like he's a little pipsqueak. This guy could knock him out. He could shove him down. He could embarrass him if he wanted to. He's a nice guy. Says, "Hey, I'm not here to talk about politics. Israel's not bad." And here comes this little shrimp, this fat little shrimp rubbing it in his face. And even after he tries to be nice, it's not enough. Here comes the finger wagging. Here comes the browbeating.
I think Mali is going to destroy them today. No, I'm just talking about football. I'm just.
And then he says, "F you," and it's not enough.
Talking about football.
the best, no politic here. Okay?
Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine.
He had nobody to blame but himself. It's the perfect depiction. It's the perfect 30-second depiction of how Israel has lost its way with the young Western white world. It's the perfect way. All right, let's go out with a history lesson. This is a wild one. A history lesson. The truth about central banks. We close the show with a brief history lesson today. The truth about central banks.
Abraham Lincoln printed millions in government-issued notes, bypassing European banks to fund the Civil War. 5 days after the war ended, he went to Ford's Theater. President McKinley supported the gold standard, while others favored a central bank with a flexible currency. It wasn't long before an anarchist was let into his rally. 3 business titans allegedly opposed the creation of an American central bank. They all took an unsinkable ship owned by J.P. Morgan. He was supposed to go with them, but canceled last minute. That ship was called the Titanic, and the Federal Reserve was founded the next year. Senator Huey Long rallied against the Fed and tried to cap America's wealth. He was shot inside Louisiana's capital. His gunman was killed instantly, with no autopsy, lost evidence, and conflicting ballistics. Congressman Louis McFadden accused the Federal Reserve of high treason for causing the Great Depression. He collapsed after a banquet. The official story? Heart attack. JFK signed an executive order giving Treasury power to issue silver certificates and bypass Fed-issued notes. You know how this ends. Congressman Larry McDonald, a fierce critic of all global banking elites, boarded Korean Airlines Flight 007. The plane accidentally veered into Soviet airspace. All 269 souls died, and Moscow held the black boxes for a decade before releasing edited data. Thomas Sankara, president of Burkina Faso, rejected IMF and World Bank loans. Shortly after, he was assassinated in a coup. His successor immediately took the loans. By the year 2001, very few countries didn't have Western-controlled central banks. Afghanistan and Iraq were 2 of them. All they needed was an excuse. The ruler of Libya, Gaddafi, proposed a gold-backed African dinar to replace the dollar for oil. NATO intervened in Libya's civil war, and Gaddafi was killed. Libya got a new central bank.
And you know the other country that doesn't have a central bank? Venezuela. Ladies and gentlemen, Venezuela. Syria ladies and gentlemen, Syria. Starting to get the picture? Starting to make sense? Maybe this is why Trump changed after a bullet whizzed by his head. Starting to get it? Starting to see the real history of this country? It's kind of tough, isn't it? Yeah, that's just the history of America. That's just the real history of America. Wait till you find out the real history of the world and what they're hiding from you. That's even more interesting. Yeah. But we're out of time, so we'll have to do it a different time. We take a 21-hour break. By the way, we are going pedal to the metal before the Christmas break. I've got like 7 different interviews outside of the show. So we got the normal show up until Christmas. So the Owen Report will continue until Christmas. And then I've got 7 additional interviews on top of the Owen Report up till Christmas. These are interviews on other channels, interviews I'm hosting on this channel. So we're going pedal to the metal ahead of Christmas, and we'll take a Christmas break, and we'll be back refreshed, better than ever for the new year. We'll take a 21-hour break for today, same time, same place tomorrow. God bless and Godspeed.